Hello, folks, and welcome to the Ultimate Schmoedown Aftershow here on the Outlaw Nation YouTube channel. My name is John Barr. I don't usually say those words. Usually those are said by Colin Morris, who could not join us today. He is celebrating the day with Guyane, his girlfriend, for her birthday. So everybody say happy birthday to Guyane in the chat. And also say, Colin, why aren't you here in the chat? Make sure that Guyane feels the love, but also Colin feels the pressure, because we don't want this to be repeat behavior. It's really unprofessional. Jokester954 saying sup Roka in the chat. Well, Roka's not here, but I am. I'm John Barr. We got similar names. Also joining me here today, as always, since the beginning, almost a full year now. Boggs, how are you doing today, man?
I'm all good, John. Yeah. How does it feel to be in the driving seat?
It feels a whole lot different, a lot more lumbar support. I really understand why Colin has kind of leaned into it. It's really doing wonders for my back. We'll see if it does any wonder for my words. But speaking of support, someone that has not been with us since the very beginning, but has truly only made this show better. And we're so damn blessed to have her. It's Soul. Soul, how are you doing today?
Doing good. Got my second vaccine shot. So in 2 weeks, I will be able to go freely into the world. It's exciting.
It's truly an exciting thing. I went to a movie theater for the first time on Monday to watch a movie of an anime. And if that's not what America is all about, oh dear, I'm losing the thread real quick. Thankfully, I can get us right back on the rails because we have 5 matches to be talking about today. 3 incredible guests to talk about these matches with. Happy birthday to her, but Colin, come back or else. Krissa, you know what's up. And before we jump into this discussion of the matches, I want to let y'all know watching, you can be a part of this discussion here on the video with us. If you join the Patreon, patreon.com/John Roca, we're going to be bringing in patrons to ask some of these wonderful guests and competitors questions. If you also maybe don't want to have your face on camera, but want to send in a question, streamlabs.com/The Ultimate Schmoedown Show. That's almost what our name is. You can donate there, and then we'll be able to have your comments up on the screen. But another thing we really appreciate is whenever people leave comments after we're done doing the live show, and just kind of leave them down at the bottom of the video. And we're going to be reading some of those questions right now. Soul, take it away.
Thank you, John. So first up, we got from Chris Taylor goes, this was a great one. Thumbs up to the panel. Thank you, Chris, for always commenting. We love you here. Jeremy Miller going, John and Robert are destined to get titles. Seeing them more and Jay Takeover was awesome. Glad he had the first after show appearance on the show. We were too. We were not prepared for that.
Fully not.
No one told us. He just showed up. And
you can probably watch that back and just see all of our faces when we're reading the private chat, just going huh? Nani?
And then we have Sean Buckley go, I wish I was here when it was written in stone. Mark Hamill, I'll wipe the floor with that one arm. Just awesome. Roka doesn't sound like a man headed for retirement. He really doesn't. He has the best one-liners. So, that's probably why they were like, sup, Roka, because that was last week. Go check that out. Leave another comment. Come back.
Oh, yeah.
And we have Logan going, another great show. Keep up the great work. Love the chaos this episode. Maybe one of these times I'll be brave enough to come on and ask a question live. Don't think I'm there yet. Come on, Logan. Goes,
you got
we'd
this,
love
Logan.
You to come on. We believe in you.
That's right. And even if you are just not quite comfortable there, just leaving comments. We still appreciate the heck out of you for watching and letting us know your thoughts. We're always glad to hear them, Logan. And
the last one. One last one.
Oh.
And it hurts my heart a little bit because Drunken Prayer says, to be honest, I'm only here for John Barr and Boggs.
My man.
He doesn't love me anymore.
You got good taste, son. You got good taste. Love that.
Boggs
doesn't love me anymore.
Ha! That's why we get to be up on the top row this time around. Tyler, yes, we do love these guests. And I don't know that we have anything else to say other than getting right to the matches, huh? That's what the people came to hear about. All right, well, folks, we are going to start talking about these team matches of the tournament that is ongoing at the moment. And joining us today, we have a member of the reigning faction champions in Corruption, part of the most established team in this tournament with her wonderful partner, the former singles champion, Adam Collins. She is coming off of a win against her opponents that I guess I won't spoil yet. She's coming off of a win against friend of the show, Video Drew, a tough competitor. But more importantly than all of that, she is a fellow Philadelphian 215 representing the show today, please welcome Marisol McKee.
205.
Right. How are you doing today, Marisol?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. It's a beautiful day. It's always sunny in Philadelphia. Here we
That's
are.
right. I don't know if the shirt is fully caught on camera, but I had to break this one out.
Much appreciated.
Yeah.
I'm somewhat of a Joan myself in terms of everything. So
that's right.
Especially for cinema.
There we go. You just get that Willem Dafoe meme up right now. Sean. Marisol, you're coming off of a string of victories. I feel like a lot of people were definitely hyping you up kind of in your debut season, but I know there are a lot of folks kind of curious as to see what would happen, especially because we're just getting more and more rookies every year now. It seems like we're just finding new Schmoedown competitors jumping out from every corner. But you have really just been cementing yourself as like one of the new powerhouses of this game. How has it been just kind of like getting more and more comfortable now that you're in your sophomore season?
It gets better every single day. The biggest part of this was just nerves, not like, am I ready for this? I was born ready for this. I love movies. I had like more recently when I discovered the Schmoedown, I realized that there was this like world of like competitive movie trivia, and that was just right up my alley. Like that's just such a natural fit for me. So really with going from I was born for that part. The part that I wasn't born for was like all of this, like being in front of people and doing it in front of people and making it into a show and performing. That's a part that has gotten better every day with from going from my like freshman year to my sophomore year now. That's been really exciting for me. Like it's you grow all the time when you're learning about stuff, but I've been also growing, just developing as just like a person, through all this. It's pretty awesome.
Hell yeah, yeah. People always growing, always getting better. And oh boy, if we want to talk about things that have just been getting better and better, this current 2021 roster of teams, Boggs, this was crazy. Obviously, a lot of new, all but one team were new coming into this tournament. And at least for me personally, that had me putting Deception immediately in that finals slot. Were you kind of that same mindset going into this? Because I don't know that we ever shared our teams brackets.
I don't know. That's a lot of pressure you're putting on me there, John. With there's some killer teams.
Tell me
right?
all of your exact picks.
No, I thought whoever kind of wins this tournament, then if they were to play Corruption, the winners, and then win the title of whoever Aftershow or the title match. I think that they're in the shout for like one of the best teams all time. So I don't know who I've got for the winner. Yeah, I've not thought that far ahead.
You don't?
No, not yet. No, not right now. I can't tell you. Okay, it's Deception. Okay. Just because you're here, though. I want to say that.
Well, I want you to mean it. Don't appease me. I want you to mean it.
We don't have to put that much pressure on.
She has my name in her name. Come on.
Exactly.
And Phil, I'll toss it over to you. Maybe we can't talk about the winners of this team's tournament just yet, but we can certainly talk about the winners of Deception versus Blackjack now, can't we?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we can. So going into that promo there, I just have to like give it up to your team's partner, Adam, because like last year, like his promos were okay. Like he had some work to do, but this year he's killing the game. And like you've always been pretty good at your promos. I've enjoyed, especially the fact that you had glasses over your blindfold. That's probably my favorite part. So do you guys talk about like what each of you are going to do in your promos, or do you kind of just take that on yourself, or is it kind of like a team effort, like how you're going to go about them?
Ultimately, when we film them, like we're on our own, but we definitely do spitball ideas back and forth, especially me and Adam, because our paths entering this world were so similar. We both made our debuts like almost exactly at the same time. And we both were growing, like I was mentioning earlier, growing to be comfortable in front of the camera, like in front of people, to learn how to try to add that skill awkwardly to our repertoire, which obviously a lot of growing pains for both of us, I think, with that. And because we're human beings and we're not actors and we're not naturally good at this stuff that a lot of the people that we've seen and loved in the Schmoedown for years are really naturally good at and have worked at, and we love it for that. So our non-acting asses just get thrown in there, and we're just like, be instantly interesting and do something. It comes easy to some people. It comes less easily, not as easily. English, I don't know.
One of them.
It comes not as easily to shyer people. I think I'm a shyer person. But once you have ideas, once you find your groove and have ideas, it becomes really easy. And I just, at least for me, like I knew I just had a clear idea, like what kind of character I wanted to do. I spitballed it with Shannon and a couple other people in my faction. And once you firmly have an idea and an image and an icon in your mind, that really helps dramatically. Everything kind of flow from there. And yeah, you start, the easiest way, I guess, to project something that's not yourself or something that you want to be and you're not, makes it easier to like get into that that promo game, because I knew that when I'm going to be in the game, I'm just, look, I'm focused when I'm playing. That's what I do. That's my mode. I'm very focused. I'm a competitor. I'm competitive by nature. I've been into sports for years. When it's game time, it's game time. So not used to cracking jokes while I'm playing. But outside of that, I knew like, okay, I could at least like in my promos, I can at least that's where I can have fun and like get all like, you know, like my shit talk and everything I need to do, like in my promos, get that out of my system. And so I think about that every time and I try to push as much of that as I can into my promos.
Yeah, and definitely the promo game has been getting better and better. But I'll also say, hey, nothing wrong with being a shyer person. You know, it was shyer people that destroyed the One Ring. So there you go.
I'll think to that.
And to say too, like your older promos too, like you definitely don't look like you're uncomfortable doing them. You look like, yes, this is my character. So whatever you're like feeling inside, it's definitely not being projected on the screen.
And mission accomplished. Good.
Where did you get that idea from for the blindfold and, you know, the hand wrap stuff? Where did that come from?
The shortest answer is Wonder Woman. She's how can you not? She's a lot of people's number one. She's one of my number ones. And I was trying to think of like, you know, well, I don't want to come out there and be a superhero, especially if I'm on Corruption. That's not quite the angle. But I was trying to think of like something as iconic, something to give me an idea, something to work off of, to kind of inspire me when I'm trying to be a character, when I'm trying to be something. I have family members who are in law, and I've seen that image, like the image of Lady Justice a lot. Like I've seen it in a lot of places, and I was like, wait a minute. And I thought about it, and I thought that would be dope. I thought like the blindfold and that look would be like something, like really something to work with. And that's it.
So, well, you got to be on kind of the superhero steez as well to be going up against a team like Blackjack. Obviously, Jeannine, also kind of on that superhero tip with a lot of the Marvel influences and characters as we've gotten to see over the years. But then also with her partner, Jacoby Bancroft, one of the Fan League 4 that I must admit, I didn't know a whole lot about him until I saw his performance in the free-for-all and his debut match against fellow Corruptionite, Jacob London. And, ooh, that guy's knows a couple things. Kind of getting able to see that game tape, I guess, kind of going into this. Was there one person in that team who kind of scared you more, or were you just kind of looking at them both as like both were the opponents that just got to go down?
Oh, in the Blunden Jacoby match?
Yeah.
I mean, I was pulling for my boy through and through. I knew enough about Jacoby. I knew Jacoby was no joke. I knew he was going to be absolutely one of the top, without people even saying it. I knew he was going to be one of the top rookie prospects for the year. But getting to know Jacob, I had met Jacob once he was drafted. I hadn't gotten to know him prior. But I knew of him, but I hadn't gotten to know him personally prior. And then when I got to know Jacob through being on the faction and sessions and Corruption, and that's the beauty of when people are in your factions. Once you really get a grip of how much people know beyond what like the 15 questions they're going to get asked in a match, once you really understand the depth of the things that they know and the areas that they know it, I had all confidence in Blunden. I was just like, yeah, I had all confidence that he was going to pull that one out. And he damn near did. And it's clear, even with a loss, that it was clear the caliber of player that he is and how easily that match could have gone either way, because those are two of the best rookies we have this year, without question.
Absolutely. Definitely Jacoby Bancroft and Jacob London, both people to look out for. But one match that, certainly not like a big, huge, insurmountable lead, but certainly less close, let's say, this round one of Deception and Blackjack. Soul, take it away with the breakdown.
Yeah, so we have Jeannine missing 3 questions there, and Jacoby missing Jacoby. I keep saying Jacoby because it was like JB versus JB. So I'm so sorry.
Who in their right mind would have the initials JB? That really sickens me.
Right.
And imagine if they both had accents. Imagine if Jacoby was like British. Like that would have been really difficult.
Bugs?
Bugs, how do you say it?
Blimey.
But Jacoby missing 2. They both missed 1 question together right at the beginning, and you're like, oh no, because he's going from having like that perfect game that he had, going in missing his first question because he does bleed. And then Adam and Marisol going perfect and getting their bonus. Goes, what was the feeling there when you go perfect? You also get your bonus, and your partner does as well. Because that gives you a lead. Like you're 18-11 at the end of round 1.
That's a super high. I'm very like you guys have seen. I can be pretty stone faced in my matches because I'm focused. I like to stay focused on the game, and that's how I play my best is when I'm in the zone like that, because it's a sport. It's you get in this, you don't dick around when you're like playing a game of basketball or something like that. You know, you stay focused. So I stay focused, but on the inside, especially when I saw that and we both hit the double dewberry, I was just like, ah! Like I was just screaming on the inside. You gotta keep it cool and you gotta keep it moving. But yeah, it was awesome.
You can't show fear when facing down Pennywise. That's what those movies taught us. Hey, speaking of, I think round 2, Pennywise's dad showed up. I think that was the category. Was Pennywise's dad? I
think that's his biological father. You guys got Spinner's Choice. Does Stephen King? We had Video Drew on here, and she says that she hates hitting Spinner's Choice because she's like, that puts pressure on her to go perfect. So when you hit Spinner's Choice, is it like, oh no, I have all this pressure now? Or is it a like, yes, Spinner's Choice, we're getting the category I want, the one we put on the wheel, let's go for it?
It's like 80-20 at least, or 20-80 based on the order that you said them in. 20% pressure, but like 80% like, let's do this. Like it's once you start thinking about that pressure, then that messes your game up. Once you start thinking about it like that, the stuff that is in your wheelhouse, you have the confidence in it, you take a breath and lean into that, and that helps get over the nervousness of it. And definitely with Spinner's Choice with us and Stephen King, I had zero doubts. We both absolutely can cover our bases in that category. And that once you feel confident in what you know, that kind of that pressure about worrying about if you go like 12 for 12 or something like that, or at least 11 for 12, it really does disappear. Not 100%, but it really, really does
absolutely
go.
And Boggs, we also had a challenge in there where before, when we watched, I've seen people answer it and they give it to them automatically. This time they said that's not enough. So you guys had to do a challenge and be like, no, it is enough. So what was your thought process there when you saw that challenge, Boggs?
Yeah, it was. It's worth it, because if they believe that the title is different, then challenge it. So, lucky they got it upheld. So it was a good debate. Shannon was a bit hesitant to do that, but Marisol, I got to ask you. So, as Shannon said, your guys' chemistry is like seriously impressive against let's say the next 4 teams in the next round of this tournament. These are all established players that have been playing since season 2, some of them. So you guys going up against all these teams, seriously impressive. And I just want to know, so you're 2-1 in singles and teams. How many questions have you actually missed? Do you know? Because I don't think you've dropped a round 2 question, right? For steal.
I missed a round 2 question in my very, very first match.
Okay.
That's the only time I've missed a round 2 question. Oh, no, that's not true. I missed a round 2. Yeah, I missed a round 2 question in my very first match against Bonnie, and then my match against Vinny this year.
Okay.
I missed 2 round questions in my matches. And both of those, I mean, the first one against Bonnie, whatever, but the one against Vinny hurt because I knew that. It's always one of those things where you go back to it. That was a mental mistake on my end. Very, very easy, very gettable question that I made a mental trip up with that. But I don't have the stats for the rest.
It's like
of it.
only 2 questions in 6 matches or something, right? That's serious. That's what I mean. You guys are, seriously impressive, and like it's
we prepare for this game. It's I know the game is different, and we're absolutely 2 of the players, the examples of players who are so ready for what this game is now. We welcome it, and we pay attention to it. Like the writers have stepped their game up exponentially. It's like a game of chess with the writers. They're firing on all cylinders. They do such an excellent job. It's evident in these matches. And they've also at the same time given us the tools to determine our level of success. Like we all knew at the beginning of the season what potentially down the road could be asked about, like just broadly the categories. All of the competitors have received that knowledge, and it's up to you to choose what you're going to do with that information, how far you're going to take it, how much you're going to commit to it. And Adam and I are both 2 competitors who are more than game to engage, to take part in that. So it's an exciting game of chess. You're ready to see like a benevolent game of chess, of course. With the question writers, we're ready to see you gave us the goods, and now let's see what you got. Like let's bat it back and forth, and we're ready to step up to that. And in round 2 is not just for us, many competitors. Round 2 is where you see the efforts the most. That's where it becomes the most evident who is really taking that to heart and stepping up with that. And which players are being a little more cavalier about it and just being like, oh, well, I know what I know, which has gotten plenty of competitors very far as well. Adam and I just have a different approach. And that gives us, I'm not gonna lie, that gives us a lot of confidence across the board when we go into our round 2s in games.
I got a question about that Vinny match. That 5-pointer, about that golfing question, where was it Legend of Bag of Ants, right? Where was it based? And of course you got it right. How did you know that exactly? Like, give me the breakdown. Like, are you a big golfing fan? Was it a good guess, or how did you? Do you remember it from the movie, or?
I know less.
Because that was like a crazy pull.
About golfing. I gotta say, I know nothing about golf. I don't like it. I actively kind of crap on it a little bit when people are like, "I'm gonna watch." Did you hear about? No, I didn't, because I don't care. I don't like golf. But long ago, I saw The Legend of Bag of Ants when I was a preteen, and I didn't like it then. I still don't like it now. And I knew they had Southern accents. I remember that everybody had these twangy accents, and
what accent? Sorry, can I hear that again?
No, twangy. I can't do it again. It was a crapshoot. I know some people. I know that, like, even without them saying, like, I know that you go from 50 states, but then I believe in the question they said which Southern state. So they did narrow it down from 50. I do remember that in the question, but I still distinctly remembered them being Southern. So I already was going to say something in the South in my mind in the first place. And then I was just trying to think of where they play golf a lot. That's really it. And I was like Florida, but I was like they were really country. So maybe like Louisiana. And I thought about it, and I just thought that Georgia would be the firmest guess. It was an educated guess, but I did think that Georgia would be Georgia. I don't know. I revisited. I went with Georgia. That's the point. I revisited that movie briefly, and remembered, which is what you do when you revisit and things hit you so obviously. They say Georgia. They name drop Georgia like 1 billion times in that movie. Like they name drop Georgia so much. So if I had rewatched that movie more recently, not like whatever, like 15 years ago, it would have come more confidently and more easily. But I was really going off of base memory. I had refreshed on that movie. I had refreshed on that movie in preparation because that is, as the great strategist Ben Bateman would call it, like a quadruple slice movie. So I had refreshed briefly on it, but clearly not enough because Georgia would have been obvious if I had really, really dug deeper.
Hey, but having them know it like the wherewithal to be like, okay, where do they play golf a lot? Like Florida would have been a great like decision because they do play a lot of golf here in Florida. And they do. I don't get it, but they do.
Yeah, and those are the three I was down. I was torn between Louisiana, because it just seems so swampy. That's why I was kind of like Louisiana or Florida. But I ultimately did feel in my gut that Georgia was the answer, and that's because I guess somewhere deep in the back of my mind I remembered hearing Georgia a lot in the movie when I was younger.
Well, and it helps that there's a whole song about keeping Georgia in your mind, right?
There you go.
Hey, Soul, speaking of, in the category 2 for Blackjack, did they maybe have to answer some questions about some movies with songs in them? Oh, I'm reaching hard. Oh, so hard.
So hard. But you got it. Because I was going to say earlier, because speaking of like people who have a pretty good round 2, Blackjack had a pretty impressive round 2, spinning opponent's choice, the dreaded opponent's choice after you guys got spinners. So it's just like, when you see that, I'm pretty sure that's just like a devastating moment of like, oh no, here we go. And the fact too that they got out of KO range, though they almost missed Rita Moreno, and I was gonna like not forgive them for that. I was gonna be so upset about that.
Same with Helter Skelter. I was surprised that they're like, that can't be a Beatles
song.
Yeah,
but Rita Moreno is an EGOT winner, and she's Latina, so like, there we go. More important there, right, John?
Did the song Helter Skelter not win an EGOT? I must be thinking of a different song.
But they did go to multiple choice 2 times, but they were able to get everything. They were able to get out of KO range. So, like, Boggs, what was your thought process of their round 2? Because that pretty much, like, I was like, okay, that's impressive. You got opponent's choice, and here you go.
Yeah, they navigated it round. So, as you said, we're just unlucky to get, for deceptions to get spinner's choice and them to get opponent's choice. Always like, oh, they're in trouble now. But yeah, they managed to keep in it. And like you said, it is important not to get TKO'd or not to get potentially knocked out. So because they had that much, I think they started off the round at 11 and Deception had 30. It's like you got just to keep in it, just to get knocked out. Forget the win, like just to get knocked out, you got to have a good round. So yeah, that's all it was. And as soon as I heard that West Side Story crash, I thought, Soul's going to be mad if you miss this, because I know it's a big one for you. But no, they got it. So yeah, no, they've done well. So they picked up a lot of points this, and then they went perfect in the next round as well. So they picked up a lot of points, but Deception just sitting pretty, just needed their 2-pointer. So, but yeah, they did well staying it.
And going with that, they did go perfect in round 3. Black Cinema saved them from that TKO, because we've seen more of Black Cinema like being a hindrance to some competitors this year, them not getting those questions right. But Jeannine, we saw her in the exhibition match for Black Cinema, and just like she was just like, yep, I got this, I know the answer. And Jacoby was just like, I'm just gonna go with whatever you say. So when you saw that, Marisol, where you're like, okay, yep, they're gonna get this, I have to answer a question now.
Oh yeah, the second I knew the second they started talking about that, I knew it. I knew Jeannine knew it. And I was like, all right, here we go. Not gonna lie, I was just like, are you serious? We couldn't get this TKO. I'm competitive. I love good competition, but we were so hungry and I was so ready. And I said it in the interview too. Like we were coming into this tournament ready to shut it down, ready to put people away. We are fired. We are loaded. We are ready to go. And I think that was evident with the first ever, with our game, the first ever, the 100 game by a team, like in this sport. And it's not lingering with me now, but of course, being competitive, like I felt in that moment, I was like, oh, we're so close to really hitting that slam dunk. And even in a moment where that was a big moment for our team, for Deception, to have that. And it says so much about the match as a whole to have, on the flip side, just also, I feel like a record-setting performance as well, like in its own way with Blackjack. That has to be the most, a team, that has to be the biggest, that has to be like the biggest comeback, still though without winning, but like the biggest comeback for a team to be like, because I didn't see the details of their round 2. So when the match aired and I finally got to see like the detail and the drama in their round 2, especially on the Rita Moreno question, like everything leading right up to that, I was like, oh my God, like it's incredible. It's amazing. It makes that team, it says so much about Blackjack. And they look excellent. Like even obviously it's still a loss, but the odds, like it's so crazy that like the accomplishment is insane what Adam and I were able to do. And that's still, I'm not necessarily going to say overshadowed, but like pretty close to like what Blackjack was still able to do because of how the odds had gotten stacked against them pretty quickly in the match, and how well they played and dug out of that. Yeah, for the escaping with such dramatic intensity, escaping the KO and then going perfect in round 3 to eliminate the TKO. It's really impressive. It just reminds me that I'm going to have my work cut out for me, especially when it's me one-on-one with the machine. It's going to remind me just how much I'm going to have my work cut out for her.
And definitely like watching both of these teams in this match, you're just like, I wouldn't want to face either team going forward, because just watching that dig out of, they were 6 feet underground and they found a way back to the surface. And then just your guys' pure dominance. You answer your 2-pointer. I love the little thing at Roxy goes, do I look happy enough for you now? So did that just come out as a blur, or did you think about that and then say it? So I want to know where your mind was when you went back at Roxy for that.
That was purely that was a pure reaction. That was a gut punch reaction. One of the things I do love about doing this, and like I'm saying, getting more comfortable every time I play, is that like I get to know the people that I'm playing against more, and I don't have the built-in camaraderie and like banter and that a lot of the Schmoedown competitors do have with each other, because they live in LA and they hang out and they get drunk and they hang out and they're friends and they're besties, and it's all, they get to hang out backstage between the matches. Like that is such a huge part of like building that energy and that atmosphere for the show. And it is difficult to duplicate that on digital. It's even more difficult to duplicate it with people who are just meeting each other for the first time through it. So that is to say that like I do feed off of like when people bring like good energy to the show, especially pros like Roxy, who are like pros at what she does. She's great at what she does. It motivates me, it inspires me, and it motivates me. And especially Roxy is so sassy on the mic. The only one who can even hold a candle to how sassy our queen is, our queen Shannon is. Roxy's really sassy on the mic, and she inspires me to be sassy too. So, you know, sometimes I'm just like, yeah, I'll clap back, you know, and because she brings that out of me. It's good. It's good. It's what a pro does, what good competition does. They spread good energy.
That's right. They spread good energy, and then they win. And that's kind of the big one. And then, you know, if Blackjack wasn't enough of an intimidating team, then you look at the other teams match that we got this week that decided who your opponents will be moving forward in this tournament. Danger Zone, coming from the dungeon, obviously these two pre-established pros, versus the Midterms, a team that's very fun and I think surprised a lot of people in like just proving again that they are underrated. But so let's just quickly talk about this match because the headline for our show anyway is not necessarily the intricacies of this match, but also just looking at the winner and how Deception is going to be having to who they're going to have to be looking at the end of this.
But yeah, running real quick through this match, we have Bateman and Jonathan. They both missed Mystery Men, and I was just like, yes, Bateman missed a question, not going perfect. Because I love Bateman as a person. I hate him as a player. So I was just like, yes, not a perfect round. And then we have Zip being the only one missing Annie. So therefore he wasn't able to get his perfect round, but Dan Murrell did get the perfect round and the bonus, leaving it at 16-14. Then we have round 2 going in there. The Midterms, they get new releases. And I was kind of surprised. They were like, yeah, we watch these movies. We're going to, because I know like Roka and some other like people that talk on the internet, they're like, I forget 2020. What came out in 2020? Is there movies that exist? Goes, what are these Oscars? I don't know any of these. So it's kind of funny.
Did Sonic win Best Picture? Is that what happened?
I think so.
Heard that Sonic was
runner-up. Yeah, very close.
Yes. But we do have they were like, yeah, no, I want new releases, and they dropped a multiple choice only once, going pretty much perfect in that round, getting a possible 11 out of 12 points there. And we have round 2 goes, we got the movie release dates goes, which you're just like, okay, yeah, they're going to get a perfect round there. Goes, no way is Ben Bateman missing a movie release dates question. So we're ending that round with 28 Danger Zone, 25 midterms. Going to round 3, we got Jonathan. He gets Dennis the Menace 2-pointer. Zipper getting the Ghost 3-pointer. And then they both get their 5-pointers. Bateman gets his 2-pointer. Murrell gets the Ferris Bueller 3-pointer. And then they ended that round there with Danger Zone winning. So now your opponents are Danger Zone. So how's that going against these two pretty much greats, former belt holders there? Well, current belt holder right now for the singles belt, Dan Murrell and Ben Bateman as a team.
Oh my God. I'm so ready to play them. So ready.
Yeah.
So ready. You never want to be, I wouldn't be that person. Like in my rookie season, I would never be that person who just like, you know, you shoot your shot. You're like, I'm going to come in. I'm going to make a splash. I'm going to take out the top dog. I'm going to challenge like the top dog to a match because that's dumb.
You got to make sure you're ready first. I get it.
Yeah. You know, like don't do that. It doesn't end well. Build up your own confidence and earn those shots. I think coming into this, what I've done, I feel, even though it's not completely there for people on paper, I feel it in my heart and my gut that I have earned this shot and I'm completely in league with these players. No matter how many accolades are next to their names. I don't feel out of my league against them. I feel like I'm on my path to join these people in these ranks. And I wear that belief like on my sleeve, in my heart, and in my game. And I've gotten. I wouldn't have necessarily thought that in like a match in last year. But I am growing and getting better into this, and I'm so ready to play them. I'm so excited to play them because I'm going to give them 150%, and I already know that Adam's going to be at like 200. So I'm excited. There's minor nervousness because there's always some nervousness attached to because that's natural. There's always a bit of nervousness, and I'm not a cocky person. I know that I bleed like everybody else, but I also know that I'm going to show up and leave nothing on the table. So I'm ready to go.
We're going to have 3 champs and 1 future champ there in that match. So I'm ready to see it.
Knock on wood.
Boggs, I think we might have just quickly interrupted. I think we might have gotten a little bit of a super chat on our hands.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. So shout out to Mukbang Reviews. He says, I'm late here. It's been a busy weekend. I see Lady Justice and I click yes. It's Mother's Day. Is Mother's Day important to you or your family?
Oh, yeah, very. I'm at my sister's right now. I'm staying with her and her family for the weekend. And then we're going to have a nice day tomorrow, which I hope all of you share as well. Family is very important. My family's been very supportive. They had no entry point when I first started telling them I was into this. They're just like, what? They knew that I've loved movies my entire life, that I've been a freak obsessed with movies my entire life. But it was a very novel concept to introduce them to like a whole like YouTube community of people from across the country and the world playing trivia against each other. Like that was a lot to process for them. But once we got over that little turbulence patch, they are very much on board, and they are very supportive, and it's wonderful to share that. And I love sharing that energy with my family in general. Very close to my mother and my sister.
Beautiful. We've got another super chat with from Mukbang Reviews again. It must be clearly a fan of yours. Yeah. He also says, I asked you about education before, months ago, but is Lady Justice a lawyer and a future judge? You would be great to verify the challenges. What is your view on challenges? And just a reminder for everyone as well, please send in your Streamlabs super chats. That definitely obviously help out the show. And of course, before we get the Patreons in, sending your stream chats and super chats for Marisol. But yeah, Marisol, go ahead.
Yeah. So the kicker is that I am the opposite of a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer in any. I'm not even close. Like I'm not gonna. 10, 12 years of school. No, thank you. That's not quite my bag. I don't know anything about the law. Do not hire me to represent you. You will lose. But which I alluded to earlier, I do have people involved in law in my family. I do have a lawyer or two in my family. So I'm by proxy, I'm familiar with it. I'm around it. And yeah, as you can see, that has kind of inspired me to find, it's part of one of the things that inspired me to move ahead and do what I do in this sport.
Hell yeah. Well, you know who inspires me, Soul? It's the patrons. It's the lovely people who send in questions every week. And I think this is all I do. All I do is come up with little jokes in the background and then just be like, oh, how can I transition? But Soul, you're much better at everything. Go ahead and read down some of those questions.
I don't know if that's true, but thank you, John. So we start with Jeremy Miller going, have you considered wearing your blindfold throughout an entire match? We saw Roga do this once. Maybe we'll see that in the future.
Once I am allowed, yes. Like just a little snippet, like a little just I had every intention when I first came into this game to wear my blindfold the entire match. That was what I was going to do. I had been practicing for like 2 weeks, like writing with my blindfold. My penmanship was on point. It didn't look like all over the place and crazy. I was like legit practicing. I was so like, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. This is going to be sick. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to play my entire match blind. I'm going to play round one blindfolded. I had every intention of doing that. Trust me. It is not, that pitch got denied at the door, by the higher ups. That is not going to happen as of now. I had dropped it months ago. I just move forward, adopt new energy, new attitude, keep playing the game in different ways. I don't know. I never thought maybe it's something to bring up again. It will be kind of fun in the future, as just like a one-off or like a novelty thing to do. I'm not opposed to that at all.
Absolutely.
We also got a super chat in the middle of that.
I guess a fan is watching?
Yeah, a fan of yours is watching. His name's Adam Collins. Never heard of him. He goes, do you think Leprechaun in the Hood was ahead of its time? Love what you're doing in the Schmoedown.
Oh, I can't get this guy to leave me alone. Leprechaun in the Hood, absolutely, without a question, ahead of its time. Ice-T, like that was the real Oscar snub that year. Was Ice-T's performance in Leprechaun in the Hood?
It's Ice-T and Sonic. Those are the two biggest snubs in Oscars history.
What's up, Academy? What's up?
When are they going to get their crossover, do we think? Do we know?
Yeah, justice for Ice-T. All right.
Release the Ice-T cut. Hashtag that.
Between that and surviving the game, the guy's got a beautiful body of work, just been unacknowledged. Yes. Yeah, we'll have a revival. I'm sure there's some collector Blu-ray pack of the Leprechaun series somewhere floating around. I'll buy it. I'd drop money on it.
We got a question here from Chris Taylor going, when the time comes, are you ready for a live event? Like, I'm going to that live event if you're in it. So, like, come on.
Well, I'm double vaxxed. I officially got my second. Proudly double vaxxed. Got my second one. Kicked my butt for a day, but got through it. And I'm very open, especially because I'm sure I know how seriously Christian, Skybound, everybody is taking like the safety precautions. This is how much they're chomping at the bit to get us back to like live events, but are not going to push it. Thank goodness, like we're in the hands of like really responsible, like, like people running this organization. They're going to be absolutely as safe as they can be with all things considered. I'm on board for it. I'm on board the day as soon as they want to start. I will go to a live event. I will play in one if it needs be. I will go to one, just be in the crowd. I'm ready. I'm ready. I trust them. I trust this process. I'm ready to get these going again as safely and responsibly as we can. Yeah.
And then our last question here from Drunken Prayer goes, how do you deal with the conflict of being Lady Justice and playing for a faction named Corruption? That's from Drunken Prayer. That wasn't me. That was Drunken Prayer.
It's a valid question. It's a valid question. One of the cool things about that and Justice is when I thought specifically about like with, I was like, well, how am I supposed to be Lady Justice? Isn't that supposed to be like a good, like a positive thing and fit into corruption, like the dark side of corruption? And I'm like, justice justice is neutral. Like, honestly, like it's neither, it doesn't pick sides, and it doesn't have, it's not a self-righteous thing, like it could be anything. It falls into, whatever. It doesn't play sides. It doesn't play favorites. So
it's
justice is going to tip anyway.
Say, right?
Exactly. It is blind. And I thought that I could lean into lean into how like it's actually a little ominous, because you don't know if she's going to be, you're thinking about it inside. So she might not be in your side. She's on the side of justice, and you might be on the losing end of that if you're not on that right side. And I thought I would work it in like that to try to help it fit into the darker thing of corruption that justice is always looming. So you don't, it's not necessarily like, oh yay, she's here. It's like, oh shit, she's here. Let's see how this goes, And I also take a lot of inspiration from Judge Dredd, of course, because like that's jury, judge, and executioner right there. And so that kind of captures it, like.
Oh yeah, nothing scarier than Rocky in a helmet.
Nope.
Goodness gracious, Mukbang Reviews. Another super chat. Holy cow.
You got some fans, Marisol. You got some fans in the
Justice,
Outlaw Nation.
we love you. Can you beat the... Oh, boy, Mukbang. I don't know about this. I don't know about this. Hold on.
Too far.
Hold on.
Take it back.
Okay, well, I mean, I guess it's fair, because obviously there's a hearty chance that Deception versus Rushmore might happen if my bracket is right. We'll see. I want to see you confront him on Schmoedown, but also beat him rationally on his show. Okay. Heads will explode. Entirely possible. Are you anticipating a Rushmore Deception final?
It is absolutely within the realm of possibility. Speaking of blindfolds, I mean, the OG, the guy who invented the shtick. That's the Outlaw, and wouldn't that be something if I don't know, maybe even if he showed up with his blindfold the same day I do in a match against each other.
That'd be. I mean, at the same time, we also, of course, can't discount Lightning Time. Ethan Irwin, Liz Shannon. Oh my gosh, Mukbang! He's done it again. They've done it again. The mad they. Excuse me. What if you had remained in the den? How would things change?
Oh, good question.
That's interesting. Would you have? Do you think, upset that team of the Outsiders, where you would have teamed up with either Goddard or Paul Preston?
Who would you have liked to team up with in the den as it is now?
That's a better question, Boggs.
Yeah,
that's a better question.
That is. I mean, it's a really valid question. The day that I got traded to Corruption, I didn't even look back. Sorry, I was like, den who? I was back home on Corruption, and I kept moving forward. I kept it moving. But for a moment there, when we were negotiating, I thought my future might be there on the den. I hadn't thought about who I would partner with. Obviously, Preston and Goddard were two of. I knew realistically, like, they would be kept back. I mean, well, they already were. They were already safe. They had already been retained by Kate. I think just right off the top of my head on paper, I probably would have linked up with Preston, or probably would have liked that match with Preston, because I think the way a lot of people do, that you want to lean towards somebody with complementary knowledge, not somebody who overlaps, and somebody who complements. And while I do cover a lot of categories, I do think especially when you tie in maybe like a difference in age too, that opens up, that by default will open up a ripe opportunity to have like a really top tier team. Like, you're covering your bases there, and increasing your chances to cover a lot of different genres and decades and specialties, just naturally from like a natural movie fan. You can pick up contrast or complement a lot of skills against each other. So probably Preston.
Absolutely. Fair enough.
Could have been like another Shazam.
What other questions do we have, Soul?
That's it. Let's bring in the patrons.
All right, let's bring in those patrons. According to what I have right here, first up, you know him, you love him. Sometimes, as long as he's not beefing with our dear Lord John the Outlaw Roca, it's Canada Rocks. Canada.
Hey, hello. I'm doing well. Hello, Marisol. Big fan. John hates it when I do this, but I actually wore my Corruption shirt for this because he does. Roca does not like this when I wear this. But and speaking of Roca, I think the two of you, and this is legit, would make a great team, and you should be called Frontier Justice. All right.
An outlaw's brand of justice.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, before I go to my question, I just got to say I'm so glad you won that challenge on the It, because when the movie was released, first of all, it was called It. It was not called It Chapter 1 until the second one came on. All the trailers said it, all the posters said it. But okay, so I'm glad you got that. But out of the way, congratulations on the win. But more importantly, congratulations on the road. The fact that you now have a road to the title shot. And in my view, you're the hands-on favorite to actually win that thing. So did you think last year when you that this quickly you would actually have a chance to go for the title?
No. If you had pinned it last year, definitely not. I still was working on a lot in my game. I still felt like I had a lot to prove. And I knew that I was going to have to earn that chance. Like I knew it wasn't going to be put in my lap. And I was ready to take a long road to get there. I knew I was going to do everything I could to prove it, but I wouldn't have predicted that. I wouldn't have imagined that already that I would. I have some matches under my belt at this point, but that here I would be, at this point in my sophomore season. So I'm very pleased with that, and I'm more than game to step up to the occasion.
And well deserved too.
And like I said, you're in my tops on odds favorite to win, to go against. I assume it'll be Dan at that time, but yeah. Now, just one last question before I go. What is your dream 5-pointer? Like the 5-pointer that you think only you know, no one else knows. You get it, and you're like, God damn it, I know this.
Yeah, if anything, that's the worst thing to commit to camera right now, bud. What do you think?
Well, okay. You don't have to answer, but mine would be.
What's yours, Ryko?
Who directed My Stepmother Is an Alien?
Oh, that was me. I did that.
No, it's Richard Benjamin. But see, no one else knows that except for now. I told it to everyone. But anyway, that would be.
Now we all know, and now we're gonna beat you with that question.
Well, we also know Ryko is always delightful. Thank you so much for coming on, man. We really appreciate it. I will say as well, we also just got a surprise question in from Alan Smithy. Speaking of directors, hi, Ultimate folks and Marisol. My therapist and I have been working on my corruption anxiety, and I feel I've been made enough progress to say great work, Deception, and Marisol. That's very big of you. You're a brilliant trivia player, and Lady Justice is a very cool character. Thanks.
Thank you. Cheers, Alan Smithy. I will take that where I can. I know I appreciate the effort that took to get that out, to the courage that took. I applaud you. Continue with your therapy. All the best there. And I still appreciate, in spite of differences, giving credit where credit's due. Good cheers, sir.
Good cheers. And
let us know when your next movie's out, Alan Smithy.
Oh, please.
That's right. And then we gotta, of course, take a segment away from the Outlaw Nation to, of course, dedicate another delightful, wonderful segment to Brennan Nation, as Brennan is next up.
Hey,
hello, Brennan. How you doing?
Hey, I'm Marisol.
Hi.
Big fan. You are amazing.
Thank you.
And I love the Lady Justice character. What a great character.
Thank you, man.
Now, I heard Leprechaun mentioned earlier. I have to ask, are you excited for the Willow Disney Plus series?
Oh.
Warwick Davis.
It would be a return of Warwick Davis. I will take anything Warwick Davis. I will take anything that he's involved in. And that is one of the big reasons that I have as much appreciation as much as I can muster for the Leprechaun series that I do is because of him. Willow there's been a long road with my appreciation for Willow, not because of Warwick Davis, but I have a refound resurgence of love for that movie and deep appreciation. So I welcome this series. I welcome it.
And Disney Plus, it looks so good on Disney Plus. The movie does.
Oh yeah,
it's wonderful 4K transfers. So, is there a category that is not currently a category in Schmoedown that you would like to see as a category?
There is. Glad you asked that. Especially.
Warwick Davis? No, just kidding.
Warwick Davis, why not? Representation. Hey. Especially one of the things I got excited about this year is the inclusion of some more classic slices, opening it up a little bit, and getting specific with older actors who were popular in the 70s, actors who were popular in the 30s, the 40s, bringing on Frank Capra, Kurosawa.
Yeah. Oh, I love those guys. Yes. That's
very exciting if you're somebody who loves all of film like I do. That is very exciting. I would be remiss, and so that did get me excited. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention my favorite actor, my favorite of all time, and it always comes back to him. But if I could add a slice tomorrow and it would be right in my wheelhouse, it would be a Marlon Brando slice.
Yes,
because he's my number one. It's not without.
What did the Schmoedown ever do to treat him so disrespectfully?
I know the disrespect. Thank you, the disrespect. I mean, but now we got Jimmy Stewart on there now, and Audrey Hepburn's on there. Yeah, Audrey Hepburn's on there. So. I mean, I'm not saying that halfway through the year they throw on, Grant and John Wayne, and Marlon Brando, but who knows? Who knows?
I like that because that's definitely the kind of movies and actors I like.
That's right.
I'd love to see a Kurosawa slice, and if there isn't one already.
Oh, it's there. It'll get spun one of these days, and that'll be an exciting match when it does.
Favorite director by far.
Yeah, well,
good to talk to you, Marisol, and keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir. Take care. Good to talk to you.
See you guys.
See you later, Brennan. Always a pleasure to speak to you. And Marisol, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show today. We've been very blessed to have you, and we're so excited to see what you got
super
coming
chat.
up. We got from
he hits again. It's amazing.
I asked you about fave movies on a previous stream, but can you tell us some of your faves this year? You are simply amazing. Love the character. Any fave music acts? I'm a Prince fan. Prince is the best.
Prince is absolute favorite. This year, I think my favorite that I've already seen this year is Judas and the Black Messiah. I always, of course, hope that something can top that because you always want to see the next most amazing movie. Like you always just want to see the best. The end of the year is a long way away, so I'm open to the idea that there could be more. But that is just my absolute favorite that I saw this year so far. I guess I would say that. That's my favorite new one. I actually, speaking of Kurosawa, I had seen, I actually watched Rashomon for the first time ever this year. And that's my favorite movie of the year I've seen so far. Like not new release, but just my favorite movie that I've seen in general. That one, absolutely. Fair
enough.
And I mean, music, of course, Prince is terrific. Music, I'm really on a big Gorillaz kick right now. Just revisiting. I just revisit them constantly because why not? And I'm going through a lot of B-sides right now with them. They're one of my favorites. They're definitely one of my favorites. Great to see in concert.
I think Mukbang's at it again.
Oh my God! What? That can't be true.
Mukbang says, "I'm watching Portrait of a Lady on Fire, and it's fantastic. Also loved Another Round, both on Hulu. What's your go-to streaming service? His is Netflix.
Mine is Tubi. So get on it, everybody.
This is a Crackle family, Marisol. All right.
Tubi, you can't beat it. You sit through maybe like 100 seconds of commercials and you get a free movie. And their library is impressive. You got everything from Oscar winners to Leprechaun Back in the Hood to I don't even know, Plan 9 from Outer Space. I don't even know. It's wild what they got on there. To some like BET TV movies on there. They've got everything on there. It's amazing. And it's free.
There you go. Well, Marisol, it has been absolutely wonderful having you on the show. We like to do a little segment now where if you've got anything you got to get off your chest as far as Schmoedown goes, anybody that you feel like you got to talk some sense to, now is your time. If you've got any sort of promo to cut, now is your platform. If you feel like taking it, the floor is yours.
Oh, I'm no improv artist. I save my material for my promos. But I will say, and I'll lean into this further in my promos. I do have somebody in my sights. Is actually somebody who's coming up in our next match, and somebody we've mentioned here already. But I'll have a thing or two to say for the boss in our upcoming match.
You hear that, Mark Ellis? Marisol is coming for you. Thank you so much for being on the show, Marisol. Are there any other projects you would like to plug before we bid adieu to you?
No, I keep to myself a lot, so I'm not really that active on the interwebs. But I do tweet on occasion. I do Flutter. You can follow me if so compelled at my name, Marisol _Mariah MIRIAH on Twitter. And I also I do watch a lot of movies and share my thoughts on them a lot. I blog or I journal entry them, whatever, on Letterboxd. So if you're on Letterboxd and you're like me and you love sharing all the movies that you watch all the time too, find me on Letterboxd, add me on Letterboxd and see what's up. You know, I got some ideas.
There you go.
I just caught a Gloomy today on the floating by near my house. Gloomy was just released in Pokemon Go, so I'm really excited. And that right now in the moment is my favorite Pokemon. But I've always loved, I mean, it's really impossible not to love. I also do love Mr. Mime. Mr. Mime is really goofy. But right now at the moment it's Gloomy.
There you go. Bryant rapscallion squeezing in at the last second there. Marisol, thank you so much for your time, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your evening with your family.
Thank you, and thanks for having me on, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks so much,
Thank you.
Marisol.
All right, take care.
Take care. Oh gosh, what a wonderful chat. We got
is that the show? Or
you'd think so, Boggs, but no, it turns out we also got
Lucky.
some other absolutely incredible people that we've just gotten lined up here.
Let's do it.
Now I'll let the chat know right now. We're about to be talking about this pay-per-view event that happened yesterday. So if you haven't seen that pay-per-view, you might want to go someplace different because we're going to talk about what happened and who won and who lost. But oh boy, are we blessed to have one of the, I would say, maybe a competitor from the better match of the night. That's a pretty spicy hot take coming from your old pal John Barr, but this was a very close match, and we have one of the competitors who was so dang good in it that made it so dang close. You know her, one of the Fan League 4, one of the rising stars of the den of this new rookie class. So blessed to have her back on the show. Please welcome PG Peggy Gubbins. Peggy, thank you so much for being on the show tonight. How are you feeling?
I'm doing all right. I'm a little hungover from last night, but I'm hanging in there. I'm happy to be with you guys.
Oh, thank you. I mean, that's going to be me tomorrow morning, so I'll know your pain. I'll text you as soon as I'm like, oh, yeah, no, this is bad. This is tough. I feel it. But one thing that wasn't tough at all was how amazing you played in this match, Peggy. Obviously, coming off of that 1-0 victory against Paige Frabetti, coming into your first live event as well. How did that kind of like compound the nerves, or how much did you feel like, oh, yeah, this is where I belong? This is where I've been like aiming since I jumped into this game?
Well, I mean, I don't know if you could tell, but I was really nervous for that first match. And this one, the nerves were pretty much gone. I was just looking forward to this match. I was ready to roll. Didn't go my way ultimately, but hey, I mean, I was proud of the way I played. So, I mean, I can't be too upset. I mean, it could have gone either way, obviously. So,
absolutely. I mean, certainly nothing to be ashamed about looking at just first off this round one. Nobody getting a perfect round. You only missing, Knocked Up, which, I mean, if we're all being honest, some of those Judd Apatow movies, they all kind of...
that was a swing and a miss. My mind I couldn't pull it. I just couldn't pull it. I had to write something down. So I just quickly wrote, this is the end. And I'm like, that's not it. But I had to have something on my board until I could get to it. And it just never came, unfortunately. But did all right.
You had a better movie on your board.
We're nothing but hot takes, but Soul, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Oh my gosh. And then Rick missing Tangled, which you want to talk about good movies. Oh,
right.
Tangled. Paul F. Tompkins is in that one. And then also the Emilio Estevez miss, meaning that you were up by 1.7 to 6 coming out of this round one. And then you also chose to kind of lead off your round two. So I was curious again, just like talking about how at this match, the nerves were gone. You were feeling yourself a lot more. Was that part of your decision to just be like, let's try and just keep that momentum rolling? Or was it also just kind of like, I want to just not have to even think about it for like as much time as possible?
It was kind of a mixture of both. I want to keep the momentum rolling, but I went second in my first match, and Paige was able to put up a number on me in round two, and that kind of got me nervous a little bit. So I just, you know what? I'm just gonna go first, just knock it out, and then let the chips fall where they may.
And where they fell was a perfect round two as well. Let's not bury the lead here. This was an incredible round two performance. Absolutely knocking it out of the park, especially considering then Rick Raddus Boggs. I know you know Richard relatively well. From what I understand, he hosts a horror podcast, and 6 out of 8, not a score to be like, not a score to slouch at, still a good score. But but it's that sort of thing that we were just talking about, kind of like with Video Drew, where it's sort of like, oh, you land on one of your biggest strengths, and then the pressure's really kind of up there, and then sometimes it comes to bite you in the butt a little bit.
A little bit.
Go
ahead.
No, please, Peggy, go.
I was just gonna say, I had the opportunity to steal on that last question, and it had been a while since I watched Carrie. I did not remember that John Travolta was in it, and I will admit I had never seen Pet Sematary out of those options. I mean, I knew Christine was the dude from Back to School and Legend of Billie Jean, whose name I cannot recall right now. But I'm like, okay, I've never seen Pet Sematary. Maybe he was in Pet Sematary, and that would have been been a W had I gotten that steal. But hindsight, you can shoulda, woulda, coulda every single match. So
I heard Christine, and I was just thinking of that Rebecca Hall movie. So I was way off.
For some reason, yeah, because I think it's one of Travolta's. I think maybe one of his first.
Yeah.
So you forget, right? He's in it. But Peggy, I want to know. So getting a call. How did it feel to get the call to be on the Ultimate Shmoedown After Show? No, I'm just playing. Just on the pay-per-view, right? Getting a call to be on the pay-per-view, being, only a second match. Some people who've been playing for years haven't got a pay-per-view call-up. So obviously getting the call-up, first of all, I want to know how you felt. And did you know it was against Triple R? Or did you not know at the initial point and then later did you find out?
Well, the funny thing is I got a message from Christian saying something like congratulations and with no other explanation. And so I took a screenshot of it and put it into the den chat. I'm like, I don't know what this means. And 2 minutes later, Kay came in and said this was going to happen. And I was just floored because there are some rookies who haven't even gotten their first match yet. And all of a sudden I've got my second one. And it was it was an honor to even be a part of it. And especially being the undercard to Damon versus Damon. I was pumped, a little bit nervous, but mostly pumped.
Of course, especially going against another hyped up rookie. You called him out as well. I believe it was in the promo. So
yeah, it's like my girl Christy V unfortunately took an L to him as well. But it was an unfortunate spin of the wheel for her. Had she been the one to spin first, I guarantee you that's a completely different match. Especially since the 2 wheel slices that he spun in that one were was it rom-coms at J-Lo, which I think those are definitely strengths of Christie's. And I mean she might have put him on the wheel, I'm not sure, but I know she would have knocked that J-Lo wheel wedge out of the park. So there was a little bit of me that wanted to get to avenge my girl, and if I can do that and bring points home to the den, I'm like, you couldn't write a better one. So yeah, I went on another after show and I kind of called them out, and lo and behold, it kind of came to light.
Yeah, no, it goes in circles, doesn't it? So obviously he got a kind of he managed to give her horror in the first match. He spun horror in the second match, but he won't get the look next time, right? Like for example, you got, with respect, obviously you got a little bit of look against Paige. And you didn't get the look this time, right? It's just going to happen. Like it's going to happen with him as well. He won't get the look next time. So just kind of all you can do is prep as much as you can and hope the questions fall in your wheelhouse. So but I've got to give a shout to Triple R. That music, it does something to me. That ding, ding, and he comes in like woo, like how happy he comes in. Like I love it. I absolutely love
it. He's a character. He's definitely a character, and he seems to be becoming a fan favorite like rapidly.
Yeah, exactly. So go ahead, John. We're just about to discuss round 3.
Yeah, sorry, I had to jump away to turn on my AC because it was getting real steamy. But even steamier was this round 3, and there we go with me still trying these segues. We're making it sort of happen. I don't know. Obviously, you want to talk about Triple R. He managed to get his 2 and his 3 relatively quickly. And then likewise, you were able to get that Jesse James one. I completely would have whiffed that. I was thinking just Colin Firth. Oh, no, that's not even the right guy. Farrell. Oh, boy. This is why I commentate. Don't compete. But then it wound up shaking out that y'all both missed your 5. So y'all both went into that sudden death, which is always sort of like another fun accolade on top of that, albeit more stressful. Were you kind of looking at this as more of just like this has the potential to be the match of the night? Or were you more just looking at this like, come on, just stay focused?
I wasn't even thinking about it being pay-per-view or anything at that point. I was just focused on the game because I was kind of kicking myself that I let him catch up to me and get to that point. Because the 5-pointer was the quote. It was an Oliver Stone quote.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, Wall Street never even entered into my head. I went JFK, Natural Born Killers. I went Schmoedown, and the closest thing I could think is Jim Morrison when he scales the building up to the balcony and tries to get Pamela to go to the beach with him. Sounds like something he might have said at that point. So I just took a swing and said The Doors. Unfortunately, wrong. But yeah, I'm like, okay, just let it be something that's in my wheelhouse and not in his, and just end this, and so I can take home the W. We went 5 questions deep?
Yes.
Yeah, which is, I mean, if you have to lose, this is the way to do it, right? Where it's just like, it's just kind of like that John Carter question. Like that's the thing where it's like, I know there's some people who like John Carter. I've not seen John Carter, but it's like of all the movies to not be able to pull immediately, like you can't really be mad that John Carter didn't immediately jump to memory, right?
Yeah. I've never seen John Carter. I plan on watching it this weekend though, just in spite. But no, I like the name of the planet and whatever character they named was completely foreign to me, and I'm just like, okay, movie. Kids got a movie, something in space, and the only thing that came to my head was the Thor, and it's not even a Disney live action movie. I mean, I had to take a shot. I had to say something, and unfortunately, he did know it and took the W. Yeah, but what can you do?
I mean, what you can do is I know obviously one of the things that the Finstock Exchange has been priding themselves on is that they've managed to get quite a few TKOs and KOs under their belts, and that's kind of been their big rallying cry. And you absolutely did not let that happen. Obviously, match didn't quite shake out your way as far as the W, but you managed to keep your faction right at that same spot. Finstock Exchange also didn't move up, really. Like, they got a few more points, but, like, they're kind of still in that same place. So, again, just kind of looking at this wider teams and factions element to it, which is this whole other context that's been added. You got to at least be proud of yourself that, like, nothing, like, really shook up differently. You've got, like, a one-on-one on your record, but everyone's going to be looking at this match and nobody should be seeing you as a loser if they're watching this match. Like, you just played too damn good for that.
Yeah, I know. I was happy with the way I played. It's unfortunate that, I'm now at 500. But, I mean, look at someone like Jacob London. You know that kid is talented, and he's got the goods, and he's 0-1 right now, and that's so unfortunate. But, I mean, don't let the record reflect. It doesn't always tell the whole story.
Yeah.
Exactly. Someone that we can always trust to tell the whole story is Soul. I wanted to know quickly your thoughts on this match, as well as if we have any Discord questions as well.
Yeah, I want to say, Peggy, like, I know you're not beating yourself up, but I want to just reiterate that because you played so well, and it kind of like reminded me of another match that we're going to talk about later today of someone who can't get those W's, but is always playing really, really well. Yep. And you have a W to your name. Mm-hmm. So just like know that it's any given Sunday.
Yeah.
Goes, you're gonna have your moment to shine, and you already are shining for me. So like, I love you as a player, and like, you're one of my favorite people so far. So just know that we support you here at the Ultimate Schmoedown After Show.
I appreciate you saying that, Sol.
Yeah, I thought you played better this match, to be honest.
Yeah, I definitely played better this match. No, my round one first match was rough. It was real rough, and I only missed the first question, and I went perfect after that up until the 3-pointer. So.
And like I said, you wrote a better movie down. So I mean, like, who's the real winner here?
Sure.
It's a few years off, but that's all right.
Well, we do have some questions for you. She goes, from Jeremy Miller first goes, is there one movie in particular that you want to add to your DVD Blu-ray collection that you own? Like, what's going on the wall behind you if you had to add a new one?
If I had to add a new one that I do not currently own, this is completely random. The Steve Martin movie Leap of Faith. Do you guys happen to know that one? It's him, Liam Neeson, Deborah Winger, Lucas Haas. He plays like a traveling evangelical like faith healer, and he like the truck breaks down in like this little Kansas town, and he sets up shop there. And Liam Neeson plays the cop who's like knows he's a con man, trying to get him stopped. I don't want to spoil the whole thing for you, but it's a very good movie. I think it's an underappreciated movie. I don't own it. Would like to.
There you go. Because if someone wants to send Peggy that movie, go ahead. You can send it to her at.
Similarly to how Mukbang keeps sending us super chats, huh? My goodness, Mukbang keeping it rolling.
Yeah, Mukbang with PG. I've only seen you a few times, but you always impress. I like how your mind works. You make valid connections between movies. What's your all-time favorite movie?
It's changes by the day. What my all-time favorite movie is today, I would say When Harry Met Sally.
Oh, no way.
Nice.
It's a very, very good rom-com.
What was it yesterday?
Probably A League of Their Own.
Oh.
Yes. Goes. Side note: my parents are gonna go on a trip, and they're gonna go to Rockford to actually go see the museum because they're like Rockford Beaches. Gotta go see it. And I was like, yes, A League of Their Own, one of my favorites.
It's a good one.
We also have here another one of our favorites because Chris Taylor going, biggest lesson you learned from this loss.
To just know that you want to be in the moment and have fun while you're playing a match. I mean, you got the nerves and everything, and you definitely want to win. But I think, look, like 5 years, 10 years from now, when I look back, I want to be able to say that I was enjoying the whole process of it and being in the moment and just not like let the cards fall where they may. You know it or you don't. The questions are already written. Either you have the knowledge in your head or you don't, and someone's going to come out a winner, someone's going to come out a loser. Just make sure I'm having fun. Just make sure I'm like having a good time. I think that was the biggest lesson.
And I think too, we've seen that with the Den this year is that like just go out and have fun. And I've noticed that more this year than last year. There was a little bit more of a serious tone, even though we had the accent, the Chicago accent, which I actually was one of those that loved it. So like she needs to bring it back for like maybe one of your matches because you both are from Chicago. Yeah. I want to see it. But yeah, it seems like the Den is having fun this year.
Yeah, I mean we're working hard too, but yeah, it's not life or death for us. I mean, we want to win, obviously, but we want to be like we want to still keep enjoying the process of training and everything. The minute it becomes like a chore or work, I think we're heading in the wrong direction.
Right. And then we have from Drunken Prayer here going, what has it been like being part of the league so far, working with your faction? Do you find yourself studying a lot more than before than anyone else?
Well, I had started studying a little bit in the families, but it's definitely kicked up a notch since joining the Den. I see them a couple times a week for study sessions, and my movie base has just grown just through those study sessions. Just stuff will come up like, oh, I remember Paul talked about that one last week, and yeah, so it's definitely helped a lot.
And then from this person, I don't know who he is. He says his name is Sean Barreto. Goes, thoughts on the film Coming to America?
Me and Sean have a history with the original Coming to America. We were on Video Chronics quiz, and I kind of beat him on that one. This was before I got drafted. I'm glad they made it. It's not canon for me. I think it's just a one-off, and I was a little disappointed with it, to be honest, but you know, anytime I get to see Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall together, I'm on board.
Sorry, Boggs.
Yeah, I thought it was all right. It did have a couple of you know, like coat, like, you know, splits like your mouth moments.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I did quite like it. You were supposed to be on our review, right, on the Pop Culture Universe. You didn't make it, but yeah, no, I did. I was pretty much the only one that liked it. So
Well, yeah, let's not shame poor Peggy right now. Let's just talk about how incredibly she did in her matchup. To talk about, huh? You didn't invite me. You could have invited me, Boggs.
yeah.
Well,
We got
let's-
another
oh.
one from Mukbang. Oh my gosh, Mukbang.
Oh, well,
Let's
hold
see.
on. Happy Mother's Day to Soul. Okay. So
that
who
that
wants
was
to
my
take this one?
niece. That was my niece. I am not a mother yet. Maybe sometime in the future I will have the joy to be a mother. Yes, I did wrangle my niece during the stream. But yes, I will agree with you. Thanks to all of the moms. All moms. High five out there. It goes and saying, what movies, if any, would you allow her to see later? I love to show my niece Princess Bride. So that's something you have to ask my brother and my sister-in-law, because for me, I'm
Bring
just
them on,
gonna
yeah. Let's call them.
yeah,
Bring
I'm
them
gonna show her like whatever, because that's the thing. As a aunt, as a tia, I get to spoil her and do things that her parents are like. I purposely, because my niece is very much into music, I purposely buy her like noisy toys that I know is gonna piss off my brother, and it's the best thing. And she loves it, and she loves it, and she plays with it, and then it annoys my brother, so it's a win-win. So obviously, I'm gonna do whatever annoys my brother. I love you, bro. I love you.
Sounds about right.
I'm gonna do your brother a favor, Soul, and I'm gonna say, hey, if you've got a small kid, show him The Mitchells versus the Machines. Just drop it on Netflix.
I watched that yesterday. It's so adorable.
It's so good, right? I mean, like, I should have known once I saw like Lord and Miller, and it's also like written and directed by some of the folks by Gravity Falls. Like, oh, just an absolute hold on. Let's see if I can get that Gravity Falls poster right there in the background. That's so
Nice.
good.
But yeah, it's so cute. And for those of you in the chat who have yet to see it, I'm telling you, it's going to be right up your alley. One of the underlying storylines is we follow a kid who wants to go to film school. And so she's way into movies and stuff. So I don't want to say anything more than that, but you're going to like this movie.
Oh, yeah. That, I mean, first 6 minutes, I don't know about you, but I was tearing up already. That was like all it took. It was just like, oh, the people. She found her people. Oh, my gosh. Absolutely great. Well, and we found our people here on the Outlaw Nation because they've joined us via the Patreon. Patreon.com/John Roca. Also, of course, the Streamlabs. If you haven't seen Mukbang do one, you're not paying enough attention. You could be just like Mukbang, or you could be like some of the great patrons we're about to bring on right now. Soul, take it away. Who do we have up first?
So first we have Canada Rocks is back. It's coming back.
Hey, long
Oh,
time no see, people.
different
How's
color
it
lights
going?
this time
Did you miss me? I think you missed me. I bet you did. Yeah, a little bit, a tiny bit, yeah. Anyway, hi, it is a bit. Hi, Peggy. I love all the new rookies this year. You guys are all phenomenal. Like, just the poise you guys are showing as if you were playing for years. And you, in my mind, you won that match last night because as someone with a science degree, there is no way that a chimpanzee is a monkey. In that film, it's a chimpanzee. I was like, challenge, and no one challenged. But anyway, that's it. You won. But next time you'll get the actual W. Now here's my question. Okay, what is your either genre or type of film go-to comfort food? Meaning you'll watch it even if it's crap. You'll still watch it because this is your comfort food.
If you looked at the wall that is behind me, it is chock full of rom-coms. Some great, some not so great, but still are endeared to my heart. So definitely rom-coms.
Okay, what's the last good one? I have like the last really, really good one.
I really liked Long Shot with Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron and O'Shea Jackson Jr. It was really, really good.
Yeah.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
Okay, well, mine's horror, which is close. You know, those two.
They're right there.
If you love horror and you love romance, just watch The Bachelor. That's the perfect combination.
I thought you were going to say Shaun of the Dead, but okay.
Warm bodies.
Close second and third. Close second, right after ABC's The Bachelor.
Right after that thing is horrifying.
No Bachelorette, John? No Bachelorette?
No, The Bachelorette is good.
That's pure horror. That's pure horror, man.
I don't watch either, by the way.
All right, Peggy, good luck. And do you know who your next opponent is?
No, I have not heard anything yet. No, it's been less than 24 hours since the last one, so it's going to be a little bit.
Christian, get on the ball. We need to see more of her. Because she's
those are the
honestly,
thoughts
you won.
only of Ryko, not of the Ultimate Schmoedown after show. That was only Ryko there.
I'm not to get you guys in trouble. But anyway, thank you so much for having me again.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, Ryko.
Right, bye.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. Well, Ryko getting us in a little bit of hot water, but he's not wrong that Peggy, we absolutely got to be seeing more of you. It's been an absolute pleasure to not only have you on this show, but to have two great matches featuring you that we've been able to talk about on this show and get you in both times. It's always been a pleasure. I did want to ask, kind of picking up what Canada was putting down. I don't know if there's anybody that you have in your sights that you're really hoping to get a shot at, or if there's just general sentiments you feel like the league has got to know about when it comes to you, and it's that time on the show where we just want to give you that platform. Anything you got to say? Maybe it's all lovely. Maybe you just have thanks to give, but maybe you got a little bit of shit to talk. The floor is yours, Peggy.
Yeah, no, I have no shit to talk right now. I will say congratulations, Rager. You walked away with a W. Savor the flavor. It's never happening again. Let me just say I am thankful to be on the Den, and I am happy that the Den is chock full of amazing people, and just this entire experience so far has been just life-changing, and I'm very appreciative of every second of it all. And yeah, hopefully you guys will see me again soon in a match. Fingers crossed. Do I have anyone specific that I have in mind? Not really. I haven't seen Doug Benson play yet. That'd be a fun match. So I guess that I got nothing. That's it. You can make me small.
Hey, if you're shooting your shots, you may as well. Oh my gosh. Well, that's incredible, Peggy. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. Is there anything you want the folks watching to check out in the meantime until we have your next match?
Yeah, over on Featured Presentation Productions, it's one of the fan leagues. Every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Central, I do a show called Fantasy Film Fights, where we just take a random film topic and we draft it fantasy style. Like last week, we did iconically 80s movies, and this upcoming week, it's a no prep challenge where our panelists won't know what the topic we're drafting is until we go live. So it'll be an interesting one. So if you're ever interested, hop over to the Feature Presentation Productions and watch Fantasy Film Fights.
There you go. Fantasy Fun Fights, the Triple F. Peggy, thank you so much for coming on the show. And we will see you as soon as you get your next match. We'll be reaching out because we love having you on so damn much.
I hope so. Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Peggy.
Of course, anytime. You have a good rest of your night.
Bye.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, it's like, oh, that quick? All right. Another
next match. Yeah, no. I was saying for Peggy, next match. Yeah, it's already happened.
Dan, you might not believe it, but we have a third. And as my mustache is completely lost underneath the logo, we have a whole other competitor to talk to. Apparently, my video might be a little bit pixelated, so I'm going to quickly drop back in and out. Bugs, do you think you can handle the introductions of our next illustrious guest?
Sure, we'll give it a try. I just need to warm up for a second. Well, yeah, let's go. Let's do it. So introducing absolute fan favorite of the Schmoedown. I'm sure he's probably sick and tired of hearing that now, but that's the truth he is. Absolute pleasure to have him on. It is Mr. Adam Witt. Let's bring him on. Hi, sir. You are on mute, sir.
I'm muted. Oh, the curse of the modern age, the being muted. Yeah. You come in with so much energy and you're like ready and you're like, I got my first thing I'm going to do. And you're like, and nobody can hear you.
Happens. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you guys? Well, it's up to me to bring the show down after these two guests, right? Wow. I had no idea who I was going to be on here with. This is the great thing about these shows. I was on the Cinefanatics last night, and after last night's Star Wars match, my first thought was like, I really should text Sean Sullivan. And then I got on, and I go, well, after I'm done with this show for the Cinefanatics, I'll text Sean and see if he watched the match. And then there's Sean in the actual in the actual show, and so we just sat there and hung out for an hour and talked about the Bad Batch and not the pay-per-view. That was not the topic. So
Okay, you wanted to save it for today for us.
That I save for today.
I mean, we can also talk Bad Batch if you want, but
Sure.
we have to talk about the match.
From what I understand, those gentlemen are a little bit bad. Is that fair to say?
They are bad, and there's a few of them, thus the batch.
Oh,
yes.
there we go.
A batch, I believe, is a technical term for 6. Half a dozen is a batch? I don't know.
There we go.
Fair play. So yeah, what we'll do is obviously we'll run through your match first, Adam, and then we'll go to the pay-per-view, and sure, we can cover the Bad Batch for a couple of minutes. Why not?
Sure.
Yeah, so going into your match, obviously, with Zack. First of all, I did quite like some of his highlights in his promo. You know, winning Dragon Con and getting drafted. And I thought it was really sweet because we don't really know him, you know, as opposed to you, obviously, he's been around and stuff. So yeah, it was really nice to see him and the kind of
no, I really got the audience on his side. That's for sure. Yeah, I mean, even I was like, wow, look at this kid's journey, and I'm like, and he's going up against dopey me, who's just like, hey, let's just hang out and do whatever.
Chronic is just too good at his job.
oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so, I have no highlights. I'm a presence. I'm an enjoyable presence. But the idea that I have highlights is a complete smoke screen, stream storm, perfect storm.
I'll tell you 2 reasons why. Number one, you might have like a top 5 all-time favorite moment of mine is when you pull that 5-pointer against Sean Sullivan. Yeah, because he high fives you, Kaiser hugs you, the crowd's going crazy. This is why I do it. Honestly, when I first saw that, I'm not even lying. I got to be a little teary eyed when I first saw it because that embodies the game for us. And you were just
thank you. Yeah, that's a really fun moment. I mean, I don't know if you know, but I knew that answer right away, and I was just enjoying my time or whatever. But it really did create a good moment, and being there live at that time with the crowd too, it's that's way different than this digital age. Like when you say, I mean, it's a dumb word. Dulce Delfino is a dumb word. It's a dumb character. In ostensibly, I love it, but it's a dumb movie. Come on. So to say that and have the crowd, that is everything Schmoedown, right? To have the crowd go, yeah! And you're like, oh, what are they cheering? Oh, someone said Dulce Delfino. It's like, oh, that's a really dumb thing going on in that room right there. But it's what we love. Sanctuary Moon! Exactly.
Yeah, it was to stay in the match as well.
The best.
And, your opponent loved it. And yeah, it was just an awesome moment. Yeah, I've watched it back several times, so I did love it. And of course, you mentioned another highlight, the that promo scene that you done with Molly and Alex as well. That's all. That's a classic promo. So
the part of Alex turning around gets shown in every match of his. Nobody knows where that's from now at this point, but yeah, we did have a lot of fun doing that. And I didn't know Molly or Alex. That was now Molly's in the dungeon. We talk all the time, but that was me meeting Molly. Was an email of like, hey, let's do some fun parody video, of the scene between Kylo and Rey.
No, it was also, and we had Thomas Harper on a couple of weeks ago after his match. He told us, a lot of his promo was your guys' influence, Johan Kaiser. So we know that. So you're contributing to a lot. Maybe you're not getting the wins overall, but this kind of stuff is building to your fan favorite kind of.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm kind of here to do bits. I mean, I'm pretty good at the movie trivia, but the Paul Preston and I, we started doing sketch comedy and stuff years and years and years ago. So the movie thing came as a side to that we're like, oh, we both really are obsessed with movies and have always done all kinds of movie stuff together. But that's the fun thing when because we met Christian and Mark years ago when we started our first podcast, and we were the show before the Schmoedown or the Schmo's Nose. And so we would just, run into each other as we're going through it. And that's how I met Ken and Zack and everything. So we would just run into each other. And then we would leave and go, have our after show dinner. And so we would just see each other for a long time. And then we didn't see each other for like 5 years. And then Paul wrote me and he's like, you'll never guess what those guys are doing and how perfect it is for us, because it's characters, it's wrestling. Paul and I are old school wrestling fans. So yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're, for instance, like Mukbang Reviews, who keeps dropping us so many super chats and don't know about the movie.
Thank you, Mukbang, though, because I was really worried that, like, I would get on here and Mukbang, or just anybody would not, there would be no, everybody's so supportive for the other two guests. And I'm like, I'm going to get on here and they're not going to give any money to the show. Thank you, Mukbang.
Yeah, they know better. They
know
it
Mukbang or Mukbang? It's regional, right?
That's a good question. Definitely mukbang. I know you're asking if Adam has ever competed in teams. Highly recommend checking out the movie, guys. They got all kinds of great matches as well as just great content on their channel. But mukbang is also asking about Star Wars teams. So I did kind of want to ask a little bit both about how much you and Molly have kind of been working together, what that kind of camaraderie is like between you, her, John Hoey, and Mara Knopik. Just thinking about that loaded Star Wars roster you got at the dungeon.
It's pretty heavenly when we get on chats, when we get on the Zooms and start quizzing each other or practice, and we have each of us leads a certain type of session or whatever, and sometimes some people do a full quiz, other people just do an Iron Man thing. I'll do a little video presentation to remind people of certain movies and stuff. I'm like, don't forget this is, because as I always say, I'm like, movies aren't paper, so we got to watch a movie or some clips and stuff, or go through clips of things as we're talking things out to just like really but yeah, I mean, what a dream team, right? Molly, John, Mara, and so just talking Star Wars with those people, it's a blessing. I mean, it's there's some lonely years being a Star Wars fan, if you pre-internet, certainly. But even after, it just felt like little islands and this sort of thing. But to like bring all these people together, and we all love all the trivia stuff, and now we like I always, because Star Wars imbues that in you. You look in the background in the cantina, you got 35 stories you're never going to see the story of how they got there, where they went afterwards or whatever, but there were action figures. So you'd be playing Snaggletooth, and Snaggletooth now has a whole life. Snaggletooth has literally never been in a scene besides the cantina, or whatever they renamed him, but the action figure was Snaggletooth. So he had all kinds of adventures. I remember when the Mandalorian, when finally IG-88 or IG-11 comes in, and people were saying, oh wow, this is cool, we finally got him. And I'm like, do you have any idea how many adventures that character actually has had in my life that is not on screen, because that was an action figure with 0 lines in the movie.
So I'm sure when you got a certain point of view, probably like listened to that or read that, like it was just like, yes, all the background characters.
Oh my gosh, yes. And I just got in fact yesterday, so I was listening to it before the Star Wars match, getting excited. I finally got the audiobook of A Certain Point of View for Empire Strikes Back.
I haven't heard it yet. I'm so excited to hear it.
No, and now I kind of want to go back and reread, because I don't think I finished the first one. I think there's a few stories I didn't get to in that, because yes, it is the small minor characters, which I'm obsessed with. If I see a guy in the background, I'm like, I gotta find that out. Like there was a droid that shows up in one of the movies, actually more prominently than you would expect, that I spent an entire afternoon trying to find out, like, who is that droid? And why has nobody reported that droid is blown up in that scene? I'm like, whose droid just got killed? But yeah, that's the fun of that stuff.
Yeah, just overall on your match, Adam, I thought you just seem to be getting better every match. They just keep kind of putting you up against the best players in the game, but
right. And well, I'm going to bring that back around when we talk about Alex's match, because it pays to get beat up a little bit by the best. He doesn't get beat up by the best on the reg. I get beat up by the best, and therefore I go and study. I mean, every match, the match against those two guys, Harper and Zack, I studied like I was going up against Alex Damon, and pretty much got the same result as if I had,
Yeah, so it's not like you're getting low overall points, or you're missing loads of questions around two. No, you're scoring really high. It's just you're coming up against former Dragon Con winners, or people that are arguably going to win the title this year. So it's just...
that was the other thing about watching Nerd Chronic's promo. I'm like, oh, that's the guy that beat me. Oh, okay, well that makes sense. Like playing the match, I'm like, oh, nice to meet you. How's it going? It's like, oh my god, this guy's really good.
Yeah, like, watching him opened with him beating Alex Damon at a Dragon Con. It's just like, oh, okay, well.
Well, actually, thank God for Nerd Chronic, because from my point of view, playing that match against him, I'm like, wow, I really got spanked there. But then you watch that whole lead up and you're like, wow, this guy's really good going against Witt. How's Witt even going to compete? I mean, I'm saying this and I'm Witt, I'm like, I don't know how Witt's possibly going to beat this guy. So I know other people were watching that going, hey, as long as he doesn't get knocked out, he's done good enough, which is a fun position to be in. Like, I don't have the pressure of an Alex Damon or an Andrew Dimalanta. Like, everybody's just like, well, let's just see. This is another fun afternoon answering movie trivia, which is how I take it, pretty much.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, again, Mr. Mukbang, or Mrs. I don't know who it is, actually.
Well,
Mukbang reviews again.
Is it Mukbang or Mukbang?
I say mukbang. I don't know. I've
regional.
never heard mukbang.
In Indiana, I think it's mukbang.
Moneybags reviews is I think what we're gonna have to call them on this.
Moneybags, yeah.
And they
You
say,
were amazing. Your record doesn't.
No, please go ahead. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Witt. I'll read it. Who would you like me to read it as? Witt. You were amazing, and your record doesn't. Your knowledge. Yet, I love the energy you bring to the Schmoedown. Will you bring in any new props? I will bring in new props.
Some soul impression. I love that.
Was I going for James Earl Jones there? I don't know what I was going for.
James Earl Jones and Coming to America too. I think that's what you were.
Please, you must understand. We're the U.S. government. We don't do that. Has anybody ever seen Sneakers with James Earl Jones? Has a great line in that. Absolutely. Everybody watch Sneakers. This is one of the most
down right now.
This is one of the most enjoyable movies that people just don't know about. And in fact, Vinny Mancuso wrote recently on Twitter, and I had to retweet it, which is like, if you're not watching Sneakers right now, like, what are you even doing with your life? Or something like that. But it's an amazing cast, but there's a great line in it. There's a whole CIA thing, and at the end, to bribe the government, they each ask the CIA for a request. You know, one of them gets their record expunged or whatever, and I think it's River Phoenix says, I would like world peace, or I would like world peace and all the people to be something like that. That's his request. And then James Earl Jones goes, we're the U.S. government. We don't do that. But it's a ton of funny lines. David Strathairn, Dan Aykroyd, River Phoenix, Sidney Poitier. I mean, you know, he's great. And
it's on my list now. I'm watching it tonight.
Yeah. And that's an easy one too. It's like you're all gonna just love that movie because people just don't know about it. That's all.
Yeah, we'll do mukbang reviews. Another super chat, but obviously we'll get to
supporting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, truly.
He did it smart because I see people on like SEN to like $50 and like $50 and they only got one thing. Here you go, divide that up, man.
Yeah,
Get a few questions in.
Yeah, he says stupid question, but family ties seem to be important in Star Wars. What should I suggest for mothers to begin with, Star Wars wise, on Mother's Day?
Oh, suggest what Star Wars movie? What should I suggest for Mother's Day to begin with? Star Wars on Mother's Day. Oh, so if he's going to watch some Star Wars on Mother's Day,
what would you refer your mother to watch? I'm guessing.
What would I refer Mom to watch? Well, let's see. I would have to go with Mom's. Mom would probably most enjoy. She ain't gonna dig no Rogue One. She ain't gonna dig no Rise of Skywalker. She's probably gonna enjoy like Rebels. I would find a good or one of the female centric episodes of like the Amidala centric episodes of the Clone Wars, like when they kind of get away from the clone stuff, which is very boy, but then they get into a lot more sort of Alderaanian type. Attack of the Clones actually wouldn't be so bad for Mom because you know Mom wouldn't like see the scenes between Padme and Anakin and think anything. But look at this lovely little thing. You know, like it's like cynical kids who are like, oh my God, they took 10 whole minutes to fall in love next to beautiful waterfalls. You know, but Mom would never think that. She would get into that.
One of these days we'll get Shmee a Star Wars story, and that'll be the one to show.
Well, you know, the way it goes, what's amazing is people never give Star Wars enough credit for. They always assume that like, oh, he just bowled over all these stories. You know, like Phantom Menace is like all these little stories, and then nothing quite gets resolved. But then all these Clone Wars and stuff, they're like, let me take one character from Clone Wars and pluck it out and give it an entire life. And you're like, that's what Star Wars is all about. Is like all those guys in the background have a whole life, and we can get to them or not. We can put them in a novel or not. Yeah. But yeah, Attack of the Clones. I'd watch Attack of the main movies. I'd watch that with my mom. That'd be a good one.
We have people suggesting the holiday special and the Ewok movie. So
okay, between the two, holiday special, again, it's not going to play as well. First of all, it's going to play like a 1970s TV show, which Mom would dig. Like I've watched with my mom, like the Sonny and Cher had a sketch show. Did you know that?
Yep.
Sonny and Cher had a sketch show. Everybody had a sketch show in the 70s. This is such a weird, it was the variety show format. Mm-hmm. They had a show, and then like the Osmonds had a sketch comedy show. Like, okay, after Saturday Night Live, let's watch the Osmonds. I think it would make a good sketch comedy troupe. But that's what the Star Wars Holiday Special is. It's a variety show, like the old an Osmond special, but with Star Wars stuff going on because it was produced by the same people that made those type of shows. So Mom would totally dig on that. especially the cheesy parts. You got Diana Ross. Didn't Diana Ross in that singing at the end? Yeah, you got all this Jefferson Starship. All the bands and stuff. Yeah, and Carrie Fisher sings while really coked up, so that's fun to watch. I mean, that's basically a battle of the network stars competition anyway.
There you go. I mean, you want to talk about a battle of some stars. Looking at this round 2, only one question missed the entire time around. This is all I do on this show, Adam. This is all. You want to talk about somebody that's only on shows to do bits? That's me. It's just me playing down train tracks. But Bugs, looking at this round 2. Obviously, Rise of Skywalker, Last Jedi, 2 entirely uncontroversial movies, but a lot of right answers all the way across the board.
Yeah. Oh, well, and Mandalorian I have watched with my mom, and she loved it. Of course, Baby Yoda. Oh, and boy, that is the major trick, isn't it? To do something that cute and have nobody rebel. Nobody was like, this is dumb. I mean, Ewoks are great. Ewoks are fine, but you still had a whole section of like, no, too cute and cuddly. How dare you? And the same thing with Gungans, and same thing with anything too cute and cuddly. And I even heard back in the first one, although I didn't catch any criticism at the time, Jawas got the same slack.
Really?
Of like, too cute. Come on, man. Blow something up. But Grogu, not a peep. That's an amazing.
And now Omega too. People are loving Omega.
Yeah, Omega. Yeah. That's absolutely. So that's an amazing trick, and they kind of pulled it off with the droids. The droids were always cute, but we never thought of them as a Ewok of sorts for the first movie because everybody loved them. Nobody ever complained. Like, C-3PO and R2-D2. Thumbs up.
So what we're going to do now is we are going to jump to.
Good question, by the way. The Mother's Day. What Star Wars would you share with your mom for Mother's Day? Because there's a Star Wars for everybody.
Exactly. We're going to jump to the pay-per-view match now. We're a little bit pressed for time, so we do need to cover that match as well.
Yeah.
So going into this one,
I lost. We'll sum it up. Anyway, go on.
You did a great job.
Nailed my 5. Everyone cheered theoretically in my head, and then we moved on.
Exactly. To be continued next season episode. And
someone asked earlier, like, what question do you want to get? That's one of them I wanted to get. That's a 5 I wanted to get. I was like, this is fun. I knew all those because they're all fun words.
You can't be mad if you get to say Hammerhead Corvette.
Oh, Hammerhead Corvette. I mean, that is the great. You absolutely have nailed the fun of the Star Wars. Trivia is that, yes, it is fun to say those words, Hammerhead Corvette. I love that phrase, and someone asked me to say that. It's so much fun. Yeah, good call.
Yeah, so for this title match, obviously, before the Star Wars title match, Adam, I want to know what is your thought. Who was your predicted winner for this? And also, I did my little bit, I guess you could say, is a bit of a hot take in the interviews before. I did hear Alex saying, because we all know as what people watching the game, that he is playing Inner Geekdom and Star Wars at the same time, and obviously he is studying a lot. I didn't totally like the way he said at the start of the match that, I'm a little fatigued. I'm watching the Bad Batch as well. I'm doing Inner Geekdom. It's like, say that afterwards. Like, you don't, people are back. People paying for this pay-per-view to watch you. You're already saying, I'm a little tired already. I was like, come on, save that.
It was a weird tone the entire way through with Damon. There was something just off. Yeah. He honestly seemed more defeated than we knew from losing the belt. I don't think he's recovered from it. It's only a month ago, right?
Yeah, true.
And that's your life for 4 years is having that belt. That's actually kind of traumatic, I would think. But I mean, on a Schmoedown level, I know we do silly.
It's
and after a match that. They said, and your winner is Alex Damon, a challenge. They have to do another question, and then you lose it. Yeah.
Well, but let's talk about the tale of two matches, because I'm forgetting even that detail from the previous match. But that just the difference between these two matches is, and I think they were comparing one to a sprint and one to a wrestling match or something like that. It was accurate, whatever they were comparing it to afterwards, because this one was real different, because the last one was. Exactly. If you look at the Star Wars matches as a progression of like, oh my God, they went perfect. And then, 2 years ago, they're like, oh my God, they're going more perfect. And then last year, they're like, wow, people are really super going perfect. And now, like, how far can you go perfect? 50 points worth. It's almost like they broke the space-time continuum of Star Wars. And, it's, you just can't do that match again. And this match was much more of the grappling match, really struggling. But boy, it is such a mental game. And you could see the mental game in both. both these people know exactly the same amount as the people who played a month ago. You know, it's just the you can just watch the, you know, because the Schmoedown is half knowledge, half mental. I screw up the mental part all the time. I know every answer I've missed practically, you know, but it just have messed something up about it. And so to see Alex legitimately rattled. Oh, and the thing is, it's one thing to come in a little rattled, and he said he was, you know, exhausted from training in another division. And that all could be true. Or maybe he was also saying that because he just wasn't feeling up to the match that he was about to go into. Like, he was just feeling off. I mean, I don't know how much, I know it takes you away from Star Wars, you know, you're going to have to watch Jurassic Park tonight instead of, you know, Star Wars or whatever. But if he hadn't missed that very first question, he still might have cruised. But I think it's like he was going in doubting, and then missed the first question, which I got, by the way. But anyway, one of my favorite pieces of trivia is because I would think most people would think that is an EOP, and I was like, that's not. I thought it was when I saw the movie the first time. Then looked up, and I was like, oh, it's not. I'm like, oh, it's a whole new creature. Well, that's fun. But always one I had in my back pocket, because I would think most competitors would think that was an EOP just if they hadn't written it down or just kind of thought to, oh yeah, that's the same height and everything like that. Anyway, so I got that right. And I actually beat Alex Damon in the first round, but that was fun. But playing on couches, who cares? But anyway, I really think that really, and did he miss 2 in the first?
He did, yeah, they both did, right? So they both finished 8-8. So I thought just the general level the general level of round 1 questions were harder than the previous match and stuff. And I'm kind of glad they were, because, you know, you need to, I feel like players shouldn't be going 50 and 50. Do you know what I mean? Like the level seems to be harder.
Well, you can write the hardest question you want. You don't know if they're going to get it or not.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, you can write the hardest question you want from me. I'm going to get a lot of those, you know? Yeah. So there's not really like the question writers can go, ooh, let's really make them
10
lose.
Pointers, yeah.
How you gonna, and even 10 pointers, you know, those two guys are gonna know a bunch of those. Sure. I mean, he knew the clone trooper number for his answer against it. That's a funny thing. The 51-50 match, Andrew ended on a flex. He said the name and the clone trooper number. I'm like, that's what you do in round 1. Like, that is such a dominating way to go. It's like, not only is his name this, but his clone trooper number is this. That's the Wilhuff Tarkin, saying Wilhuff instead of just Tarkin. Yeah. But boy, very good questions though. There's one thing to be hard just to be hard. These were perfectly challenging because an EOP looks like an Itobi. Because in the exact quote one, which is one that I missed, each one that they missed, I guessed what the other person that got wrong said. So that's the ones I missed in the first round. And what's funny is like, much less rescue everyone or everybody. That's the Han Solo one that they got wrong. You know, that's a really good question, because you can easy mistake.
Sure.
You know, it's really, it's not just like, oh, let's go super hard. Like, what's the middle name of the guy that says fire ion cannon? You know, whatever.
And we've seen that in singles too, where like they'll ask a question and they'll add a specific character, which means, oh, this is now the second movie, not the first movie in that series.
Right.
And
those are great questions.
Yeah, and they're great questions. It's just like, if you know, like, you got to single in on that one person that's not in the first movie, but is in the second one.
Yeah, they asked a Clash of the Titans, Wrath of the Titans. This was a couple weeks ago. I'm like, what a great question, because only one of those actors isn't in both. Yeah,
and Princess Diaries too. They did that as well.
Only one of those actors isn't in both of those movies, and you got to know it. Yeah, that's way fun. That's really good. Really good question, right? This Damon Dimalanta match was exceptionally well written. I mean, they get that match came out. Oh, here, okay. Somebody says here in the chat, and this is fascinating. Okay, and this is another weird thing that happened with mentally for Alex Damon. The answer is Lucre Hulk or Looser Hulk. Well, who gives a crap? It's all benefit of the doubt. Like, you obviously know that answer. But the weird thing was, so Andrew calls it Lutrich Hulk, which I don't think is actually correct. I think it is Luke, because I talked to Sean afterwards and I go, what is the actual pronunciation? I always thought it was Lucre Hulk. CREHULK, not CHALK. So what's funny is Dimalanta technically said it wrong, and I don't think it really would have mattered how they wrote it because it's the benefit of the doubt rule. He said it wrong, and then Damon took his pronunciation and goes, "Oh, I got it wrong," and he had it written right. He gave up a point and failed to challenge all in one move. That was a crazy mental game thing of like, now again, look, I watch my matches back and I go, why didn't I do this or call that or whatever? Yeah, of course, with 2020 hindsight, definitely, right. Who knows? I wouldn't have maybe said it at the time either.
You'd be Star Wars champion Adam Witt.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of just a fan favorite.
Just a fan favorite.
But isn't that fascinating? Isn't that fascinating that Damon gave up a point and failed to challenge in the same moment? Like he'd totally given up already. It was very weird. But it's too soon after the other match. He should have waited, I think, maybe.
I definitely agree with you on that. And again, kind of to your point, just thinking about kind of the mental element of this game as well. Like, to me, it kind of seemed like it was buttoned up at the start of round 2, and Damon spun Revenge of the Smith, and it's just like, sure. I was just like, no, Bud, come on.
And you never see that in a Star Wars match. You never see that sort of like, you'll see people get ahead in a singles match and go, great. Now I'm like this many points behind. But you never see that in a Star Wars match. People keep it real close, especially Alex and Andrew. That was fascinating. That was a fascinating clinic. Between the two matches is one of the most fascinating clinics of Star Wars games play. You could watch both those matches and learn everything about the mental game. And of course, you would learn those 15 questions of those matches as well. But if you studied those matches, pretty good stuff.
It's also fascinating. Review. Oh, you go ahead, Bugs.
No, Mudbang Review says again. He says, "Mr. Witt, apologies, sir. What would you think if you had to be in the D League? That's the FCL.
Yeah.
What do you think of the Development League in general? I guess
Development League's great. Everybody's been watching that, right?
Did you watch the Star Wars match there? Because obviously they add all the canon right in the questions now.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Now they do. That's what's fun is the FCL gets to be advanced by being the first one to adopt the TV, Star Wars TV, which means the holiday special can get asked about, I believe, in the FCL. That makes the FCL even way better. I didn't know the FCL would be doing Star Wars. I thought that was so cool. I called it Schmoedown Star Wars for human beings because people can actually answer those questions. And after my defeat in my match, it felt really good to go perfect. Playing along.
You're like, check.
But really, it's like for people who actually want to watch Star Wars trivia that they can play along with, like the FCL is there. And yet the score ended up almost like a Schmoedown one. It was like a 1 point difference on at least one of them, maybe both. But
that's it, to be honest.
Yeah. No, it's really fun because you can play along and you do know these answers, a lot more of these answers than during a regular match, which is more like watching a stunt show. Like, I can't believe he caught on fire and jumped over the thing. Wow, it's more that than going, oh yes, I remember that moment from Star Wars. Like, it's like, how does he know this stuff? That's what you just say over the Schmoedown matches. But this one is like, Darth Vader, James Earl Jones. It's fun.
Yeah, that's definitely the case for me because when I watched the Schmoedown, I'm like, I thought I was a Star Wars fan, but I guess I'm not enough of a Star Wars fan. But then watch the FCL and you're like, okay, I am a Star Wars fan.
I am a Star Wars fan. That's true. That's true. It's fun. Is that discouraging at all watching Schmoedown? I don't think they do it to the point where it's discouraging. Especially because the first round, and some people have said, oh, these questions are easy, but it's like, come on, we gotta get some easy questions in the because when Star Wars matches were a rarer thing, I think they never tried to repeat a question for like 4 years. Mm-hmm. And then finally, like last year when they added more matches, or maybe 2 years ago, they were like, all right, we're actually going to start re-asking some questions because we've just gotten down to all 5 pointers, basically, a couple years ago.
Because it's so far out of my league, I think about it as if I get a question right, I'm good.
Right.
I just need to get one.
Yeah, but it's more fun if you get more than one.
Right, exactly.
I think they changed it with the Star Wars tournament last year. That's how intense it was. Yeah, but now we, through Ace's journey and Dimalanta's journey and Laura Kelly, like you back the people, the characters now. Even if you can't keep up with the truth, even if you don't like Star Wars, you can be invested in the people because of the stories that they.
Yeah, and the gameplay. The gameplay, it's like, just watching the gameplay with that, even if you don't know all those questions of just like the swings and how things are gotten wrong and challenges are very particular in Star Wars. So it's really got it's a fascinating level of gameplay. Paul Preston and I have made a joke that we want to make fun of the fact that what if all movies were treated like Star Wars in the Schmoedown, and it'd be like, what's the license plate number on the Godfather's whatever when they take him from the hospital,
Right. So just going back to the title match, Adam, there, that Damon's round 2 when he, as John said there, he stuck on Revenge of the Sith, and then him missing the first 2 questions. I mean, that was
points.
Like surreal. Yeah. And then Dimalanta stealing them both. Yeah,
you don't see 2 2-point steals in any match, much less Star Wars. And again, basic gameplay thing, to just forget the basic gameplay things. And again, look, I forget plenty of basic game. I am not lecturing anybody, but the basic gameplay thing of, if I'm not confident, I'm going multiple so that if it does get stolen, it's only 1 point. Something I forgot against Zack. That made a difference. It made a giant. That was when I lost against Zack. Was when it was a numbers question. I wasn't certain on it. Numbers questions, if you don't know it, you got to go down to multiple, because they're just going to guess one more number up or one more number down for 2 points. That's what blew it against Zack, and that happened twice here. You never see that in Star Wars. That was pretty crazy. That was fascinating. A fascinating mental game. It just it goes from sure for Revenge of the Sith. Sure. Wow.
Because you saw him struggling with because when he guessed C-3PO, right, he was unsure, as you said, and then he guessed C-3PO, and of course it was, I think it was General, is it Typo, in Revenge of the Sith, when someone stopped objects to Padme flying to Mustafar.
Oh, right. Who
Gregor Typho, right?
Right, exactly. It was Typho. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was like, C-3PO. Like, if you're unsure, right, as you said, you would think go multiple choice. It was very strange to see, and I kind of thought from there, okay, this could be the change in the match. So,
and that is not the type of question he struggles with.
Multiple choice in Star Wars before, because I know he's done it in IG, but I'm not sure about Star Wars. He's played a lot of matches.
Yeah.
Well, that is a big curse of Star Wars too, is the feeling that you have to go perfect. You have to go for 2 points every time, or you're going to get buried.
Mm-hmm. True.
Yeah, but I don't know. But I'm a little scrappier than that. I'll do whatever I can to claw my way to the final round where I can hit my 5. But yeah, absolutely.
We're going to fly through the rest of this match because we are a little bit pressed for time.
All right.
Dimalanta goes perfect on the next round. And his round 2, he has a very strong lead of 22-14, almost shocking.
Shocking. Never seen anything
Damon.
like it.
Exactly. And then round 3, they both get the Revenge of the Sith question. Round 4. Damon does claw a little bit back there. He goes perfect in his round. Dimalanta did get the 3 characters who played Obi-Wan incorrect. He didn't include James Arnold Taylor, and then
those are all tricky, aren't those all tricky?
Yeah,
so tricky. Yeah,
33-27.
Forget the Clone Wars. Yeah,
exactly. 33-27. Because it just sounds like they asked for live action, but they don't really. But just in your head, you just assume. I did anyway.
The great question they both got that I got wrong was how many movies does Luke Skywalker appear in? That is such a cute question, because immediately it's 6.
Yeah, of course.
Except he's a baby in Sith. Oh, that's the Star Wars question.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's going to the last round. Let's just get my notes up.
It's sort of I can recover for it. It's sort of like a Deception versus Blackjack, where it's like definitely Blackjack. Like they managed to get all 3 of their round 5 questions, kind of claw up their way, make it competitive. No knockout TKO, which would have helped the Mercs because they're I think 4-7 and now at number 3 in the faction standings, which is incredible all on its own. But Dimalanta, he was looking like the champ. He was looking kind of comfy in a way that Damon, try as he did in that 3rd round, just wasn't quite able to shut it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, the gap was too big, but it just showed. Even I thought in Dimalanta's celebration, it wasn't as obviously. The first celebration was a lot more, euphoric almost. But this one, he was
shocked.
Yeah, this one was a lot more subdued. And I think that was kind of a reflection of the whole match. It was, as you said, Adam, it was a little strange, because shocking that his misses, Damon, especially in the first and second round. But yeah, overall, he did finish the match strong. I think Roxy was a little bit off as well in the match. She maybe could sense something. Was up.
Yeah, it was all a little off.
Yes, it was. But yeah, moving on. We have to, like I said, move on because we need to get patrons in as well for you. We did get another super chat from Mukbang as well. He goes, Bateman keeps saying he could win Star Wars with 60 days prep. I know it's a bit, but how long would it take you to compete or win singles?
Oh, to compete or win a singles match?
I'm not. I'm guessing he means a match, but
Yeah, well,
obviously
yeah.
Bateman
Well,
says
say
he can
like
win the
Bateman
title
says,
in-
if I skip from singles to Star Wars, it'd only take me 60 days. I'd be good. So if I skip from Star Wars to singles, which I'm a stranger to a literal singles match, but obviously I played. I came in as teams with Paul Preston, and I come from knowing a lot about movies, and I got to say, I'd play Bateman tomorrow. And keep it competitive, I'll tell you that.
Nice.
So you give me 60 days. Like if a singles match got announced, and I would immediately, hit my weak points and just really start working those and going through IMDb, making a nightly cycle, and of course the dungeon would be hopping on to quiz me about all my weak points. But I play a lot of these matches from couch, and couch play is couch play. It's not real play, we understand, but
sure.
I do pretty good.
it seems like you're more
pretty
of a
good at
natural,
this.
Book it now.
Yeah.
You're more of a natural singles player, right? That's the kind of aura that you give. As well, I just want to say, I was with Alex as well. I hope didn't come across too harsh there. He was obviously really respectful, really good sportsman as well. By the end, he did mention in his post-match interview was a little. He played cocky. He did say it himself. So hopefully, he kind of learns from that. As Adam said at the start of this, that people learn, in your losses. So hopefully, he does that moving forward.
And and playing characters too, that can be a little distracting. My first match, if you watch my very first match with Paul, we were in character, and I thought we were supposed to be in character the whole match, and I realized it completely distracts your mind. Right. If I'm trying to think of a funny thing to say as Adam the Razor Witt, or whatever I was then. Yeah, it's really so.
Forget things,
that also might have split his attention. It's a fascinating study.
Well, and again, just to kind of try and keep it focused, while we have the time, I want to ask this question. Think about the future. We have Andrew Dimalanta going up against Laura Kelly. And so again, Kev, now that we have 2 matches of Andrew Dimalanta in that championship bout, thinking about his history with Laura Kelly and thinking about how Laura just had to have a real close match with your faction mate, Molly Damon, to get to this point, do you have somebody that you're particularly thinking is going to win in that championship match that's coming up?
And that's for the belt, right? That's if Laura Kelly wins, she wins the belt. I think that the Schmoedown, by its nature, seeks the greatest plot point, and you can't avoid it. You can't, whatever the best thing. For example, it is. I'm sure it's great for Alex Damon to have the belt for the next 4 years. It is not good for the Schmoedown. It is boring to not have that change hands. So Dimalanta winning was maybe just the force of the Schmoedown, which seeks its own plot line, and there's nothing you can do about it. So what is more interesting? So Dimalanta he's defended the belt. He's officially earned it. It's no fluke. Dimalanta is the actual champion. So now he can lose, right? I mean, that's really, legitimately, that is the next plot line, right?
Yeah.
He can defend it for the next 4 years. He could defend it that number of times. It's very hard. And also, he has gotten more cold and Eye of the Tiger, right? I think we used to watch Dimalanta kind of lose it at a moment or something. He'd gather himself back up, but you realize, like, oof, he just lost it mentally a little bit. Again, it's a mental game. Everybody that's playing knows most of the same stuff. So I think the logical plot line is he loses to her because she is colder and more Eye of the Tiger, and I don't think he's prepared for that. Now he's used to playing Damon and both sides of Damon, the more cold side that's really Eye of the Tiger, gonna win this thing. That's 51-50, and then the other side of Damon, which showed up in this match. Well, now he's, again, we're talking percentage. He's gotten this much more comfortable, but Laura is not going to be. She's going to push him in a way that is going to be not new to him. Has he played her before, ever? Has he played her before?
Who?
Not that I can recall.
So. I don't think.
Okay.
Damon played Laura.
Damon played Laura.
Yeah.
Dimalanta?
Yeah, he played twice.
That was the first loss.
That's why he was 0-2.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So he has played her before. So yeah, but still, it's just going to be different after the last 2
And
matches,
he was up too. Laura came back from behind to beat him.
Okay.
Yeah.
He missed the was it 370 to 1 odd? He didn't put the 1 at the end. He just put
right. That's against Laura. Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That was a pseudo match. But yeah, let's get some Discord questions. So, and of course, if you have any questions for Adam, and then we'll get the patrons in.
Yes. So first we have Jeremy Miller goes. Favorite thing you've done with Paul Preston on the Movie Guys, whether it's just the YouTube channel or the Schmoedown?
What about that? That he likes it?
No, what's
what was your-
the favorite thing that
Oh,
you
what's my
have done
favorite?
with Paul? And
well-
Dom Toretto's behind me. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
I mean, I really did enjoy that. I mean, as far as being Schmoedown centric, like an actual thing we did with the Schmoedown, the match we played against Bibbs and against Shazam, we brought the bits with that one. We brought, legal challenge. That's the one I believe where Paul sings "Kill the Beast." From Beauty and the Beast as his promo. I just think all the bits were so solid in that one. And yeah, we said some really funny jokes when I read off the summons and the legal action or whatever. We had a lot of fun because he had the Captain Marvel thing on, I had the Shazam thing on or whatever. So we were suing them because of their copyright infringement or whatever. That was a lot of fun. Now, as far as something that we did individually, it's got to be, and probably will be for a long time, the Star Wars play-by-play, which happened at the height of the pandemic. Mm-hmm. There was no baseball and there was no movies, so we did a complete baseball commentary to the entire running time of Star Wars, and you can find that on our Vimeo channel. That's
as someone who's a fan of both baseball and Star Wars, that was like one of the greatest things.
It's so fun, right? And we had to do the whole thing so that it played out like a baseball game. So you can, if you go, also you can subscribe on our podcast channel, because just listening to the audio is like listening to a baseball game, because we put the crowd in there and everything, and we just narrate the entire movie like baseball announcers. That was really freeing in a pandemic sort of way too, of like we felt like we'd struck a blow for us who are missing both movies and baseball. So yeah, that was, if you're a Star Wars fan and you haven't heard that, or a Movie Guys fan and you haven't heard that, go track that down on our Vimeo channel. Very proud of that one.
Definitely. And then we have Chris Taylor here going, be honest. Do you have the best beard among the Schmoedown players? I
am told I do, which is I'm very much complimented on my beard. I'm shocked. I'm complimented on it a lot. The thing is, I'm only growing it for the pandemic. I was going to shave it, and I don't know if I can now.
I don't think so. I think you might break a lot of hearts.
Yeah, I think I got to keep the beard. I think I'm a bearded adult now for like a long time. Once you're a bearded adult, that's it. You're
welcome to the fold. Welcome to the fold.
Yeah.
I gotta keep this one because I'm bald, so I'm like, this is the only hair
that's your only hair, right?
And the last question we have here before we bring the patrons in is from Drunken Prayer goes, who is your favorite minor/obscure Star Wars background character?
Oh, there's so many. My favorite background Star Wars character. I mean, the background character porn of all the Star Wars movies is the lineup of the bounty hunters in The Empire Strikes Back, because Boba Fett alone was amazing. And also, I don't know if some people don't know, they sold Boba Fett action figures, if you send in proofs of purchase, the 2 years before The Empire Strikes Back came out. We were playing with Boba Fett for 2 years before that movie came out. So, but the great thing is Boba Fett has such a history with all the dents and marks and everything like that. But he's standing next to all these people who aren't going to talk, and they all look completely different. You're like, IG-88, and they all had toys, and so all the bounty hunters had missions. So, I mean, I guess I'd say Zuckuss. I do love Zuckuss. You know who I really love is the white droid that you can see walking in Mos Eisley. He's also in the Sandcrawler with C-3PO, and he's also hanging on the wall in Jabba's torture room. And I think his name's CZ3. And you can see him walking in Mos Eisley. I'm a little obsessed with CZ3. I've looked up CZ3 a bunch of times. And I'm like, why hasn't someone written a CZ3 adventure? I like CZ3.
Hey, you might get a question about it, and then you'll be like, I know that one.
I know. I hope they ask a CZ3 question. I love CZ3.
Yeah, let's get the patrons, and we do have a number of them, so it will be.
That's fun. That's lovely. Thank you, guys.
So I think Maria is first. If you want to bring Maria in, Sean.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you? How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you for watching the show and jumping in here with this bunch of
I wanted
people.
to say, I thought I've watched you for a long time, and I think you're really good at this. I don't know why.
Thank you.
The closing part is hard, but I do think you're more than, I'm listening to everybody quiz you like you just started. I mean, you've been around for a long time. But, you're improving with age. So I wanted to tell you that. And
well,
also,
thank you.
Are you you're on the same faction now with Ben and Dan?
Yeah.
Is that correct?
This is nuts. Yeah, I mean, it was nice that I was in the dungeon.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't like Mr. What? You don't like Master Bateman? You don't like Dan Murrell?
I do not. I love
A lot of
Dan.
Outlaw
I'm
Nation
Dan's
people don't.
patriot.
I don't know.
I'm one of his patrons too.
We're just gonna gloss over. Did you just call him Master Bateman? Is that just what I heard?
That's what he
That's the
said,
second most proud thing of I am in Schmoedown is Paul Preston's monologue. When Paul played him, I wrote Paul's promo monologue, and the entire thing was, and it was just cracking me up, and it's so immature, which is like Paul goes, you think you're a real master of trivia. You're a real master, Bateman. But I'll tell you what, and Paul delivers it so perfect that it's always hitting that. And you know what? Maybe I'm the master, Bateman, but you're the. He just kept hitting that joke. Yes, I still don't think, and I think Ben Bateman knows that I wrote that, and I don't think he likes it when I come into the chat on the dungeon sometimes.
Well, he was certainly showing himself the other day. I know that was a character. I guess he does it so easily; it's hard to tell.
He's a good character. He's a good character.
Is he? I don't know.
Loving to hate is just love.
Except to look like a bad human to me. That's what I'm thinking. Anyway.
Did you like JR on Dallas? You tuned in every week for JR. Yeah.
You know what? I did, and what a cop-out ending. That's the first time, that's happened, that stupid...
I've touched a nerve.
God, whatever. Yeah. That dates me. Have you ever been to that house? By the way, I've been there to Plano, and there was that... Well, look at this. Everybody's going to talk now in my house here. How wonderful. There's the house, when I went to see the ranch, it's little. It's teeny tiny.
Oh, you know what's teeny tiny is the Brady Bunch house. The Brady Bunch house here is...
That is so true.
It's like as big as this room. The thing is like miniature, but adult-sized miniature. It fits people in it, but...
It looks so gigantic, Oh, well, anyway. I just wanted to tell you that it was a welcome to see you. You were... Even though you lost, you were in very good spirits. You were entertaining as hell, and it's so nice to see. Instead of people, getting done and wanting to, chew nails and go out and kill some pedestrian just to make it feel better or whatever. This dog, can you freaking believe this?
Well, look, there is a mailman bringing mail, and you must be told the Amazon guy is here. Mom.
That thinks she's a pit bull. Anyway.
Well, thank you so much, Mo, for calling into the show. Absolutely blessed to see it. And thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you for enjoying my antics. Nice meeting you.
Bye. Bye.
This is the life of Zoom.
Exactly. Y'all are probably hearing my dear neighbors. God bless them. They're doing a little bit of construction. I'd rather that than the parties that my old neighbors held. Next up, the
window's closed, so you can't hear the Quinceañera outside, but yeah.
Well, speaking of celebrations, it's another episode of Brennan Nation real quick. Brennan, hop on in. How you doing?
Hey, Brennan.
Hey, Bateman, if you're out there, you're going down.
Oh, my God.
And,
he loves it. He loves it.
And Drunken Prayer stole my question, so... My question would be, is there a Star Wars quote that you really like or that you find yourself using or... playing in your everyday?
There are a lot of them that pop up. It's so amazing when hundreds of quotes from that, then they can pop up at any time. So somebody reminded me of a line from Solo, and there's so much good stuff in Solo. If you've only seen Solo once, you haven't seen Solo at all. But that Beckett calls him a mouthy little scooch at one point. He goes, this mouthy little scooch, which is such a great Beckett line. So I've been calling my cat a mouthy little scooch lately. So he'll come in and yell at me. He's an indoor-outdoor cat. There's a bell on the outside. He rings it to be let in. But sometimes he wants to play. As we've said, people train cats to have buttons, so they press the buttons that say food, pets, go outside, whatever. But we've realized because we only have a bell on the outside to go in or out, he only has one button. Sometimes it means I want to play. So if you open the door, he'll just sit there and stare at you and yell at you. Mouthy little scooch. You mouthy little scooch.
Man.
That's what we got to start calling.
That line's cracking me up lately.
That's what we got to call Colin when he comes back to the show.
You mouthy little scooch.
Or a moof milker.
Moof milker. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you so much, Brennan.
Yes, Brennan. Thanks, Brennan.
Keep up the good work, Adam.
Oh, thank you so much. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, we got
This is really nice to, get compliments from people and stuff for this silly thing. I never take it too hard losing a match. I did my first match I did, but now I'm just like, it's a half and half. I'm here to play and have fun and do a good promo and, mess around and get some jokes in and just generally have fun. It's really just kind of still bar trivia in my head sometimes. Maybe I should take it more seriously, but who needs to take it too seriously when you know as much crap about Star Wars as I do?
There you go. And definitely, let's be clear, you deserve every compliment that's being slung your way tonight. You're an
It's so nice to hear. Thank you.
Of course. Well, let's hear some more of them, too. I think next up we have Canada Rocks in the
Hey!
There.
Hey,
Okay.
hello.
All right. Yeah.
No, not even close. Let's
No.
not go. It's nice, but it's not.
No, I have a cute little Kenneth Branagh beard.
Yeah.
You said
check
bear,
the
not
spelling first,
beard?
Canada.
Oh, okay,
call that
never
a
mind.
bear?
Okay, you know what, Saul? We don't
That's
have
not a
time
bear.
for this. We need to keep it running. Let's go.
Yes,
Anyway,
you have a
I-
Vincent Schiavelli beard. I have a Kenneth Branagh beard. It's barely a beard. Yeah.
All right, I have a question that's not beard related, it's not Schmoedown related, and it's not Star Wars related. So
Okay.
recently, I listened to a podcast with you and Paul about my dinner with Andre.
Oh yes, on
I thought-
William Bibiani's network. Yeah.
That's right, and I thought it was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. And I have because I do sketch and I do improv, and I just have a question: how much of that was pre-written? How much of that was just improv?
It was about 60-70%. It's about 60% written. I think when I actually talk about My Dinner with Andre, the movie, and Paul responds, that's the improvised part. But kind of like for anybody who doesn't know, they do a podcast. They do a ton of podcasts. If you haven't seen Critically Acclaimed, subscribe to their Patreon. They're insane with the content, and all their content is really, really good. I love those guys. And I disagree with them all the time. That's the value of a really good critic. It's like, Bibiani is wrong, Whitney is wrong, and this was a really good episode. But they do one called My Dinner with Andre, which is people talking about My Dinner with Andre. And so Paul and I did a one where we were at the restaurant next to Wallace Shawn and the other guy. So they kept bleeding over, and we would stop our discussion to talk about how loud these guys are being next door, and then we play a little clip of them or whatever. So we're the guys in the booth next to them at the restaurant. But and then somewhere in there we get in our criticisms of the movie or our compliments for the movie or information about the movie. But a lot of the facts and stuff we bring up, and some of the interruptions are pretty patented because we're trying to interrupt each other the same way at Wallace Shawn and I can't think of the other guy's name. Henry Aglum? That's not it.
Five pointer. Uh-oh.
Right. Who's the other guy in My Dinner with Andre? Andre.
He's actually Andre.
Previn? No. Andre, yeah. Andre.
No, his name is Andre. It
is Andre something.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, Andre and Wallace. Anyway, so we did this. I'm glad you enjoyed that because that kind of went out on their network, and it's not like a YouTube channel where you can see like, oh, people like this or that. So it just kind of went out there.
Because to be honest, and I've told them this, that is my least favorite of their podcast. But when I heard you guys, I went, oh, no. This is now, I love this.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Well, just like the movie My Dinner with Andre, it's there to be disliked. It's not trying to go home with you. So they've devoted an entire section of their podcast to that movie. I get it.
Anyway, great fan. Love your
stuff. Thank you so much. Good to see you.
Thank you, Rico.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. I don't know if we have Drunken Prayer next, or we might have Alan Smithy, the director.
Drunken Prayer, I think.
There we go.
There we go.
I said I'd jump out in case Alan.
Hello.
Had a previous question you wanted to ask.
No, do it, man. Do it.
Yeah, what you got?
Sorry, I want to ask my usual name question because I've just spotted something in the background of Adam's studio there. I'm curious about this John Williams behind you. Is that a record? And what is that behind you?
That is a poster from. Well, I will show you something. This is a poster from the Hollywood Bowl, which is a really cool design.
Oh,
it's got the Death Star with a disco ball, and then the Hollywood Bowl there.
Okay.
Oh, sweet.
But it is funny that you mentioned a record. I now have to show this.
Oh.
I tried to keep it short in my defense. It's not my fault that you had to wander away to get something. I am free of blame here.
No good.
I will
to
say
show
that's
this
a really
because
long cord.
The man signed this one for
Oh,
me.
Oh,
Wow.
How
And
about
usually
that?
for it, it has a place on the wall. Usually for shows, I'll set it back here so it can be seen. But so it is funny.
So the next heist is at Adam Witt's place to get that record.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm
Ocean's
looking up
Nine.
Flight America right now.
Ocean's Episode 9. Yes. So thank you for letting me show that off. Yes, that is a record.
that is very cool.
Yeah.
And as I said, I'll keep
Brandon?
it short. That was really cool to see. Thank you very much.
Cool. Thanks for giving me the excuse. Andre Gregory. Somebody just said it.
There it is. Of
Thank you,
course.
Jacoby.
And it's always Brennan. It's always
Thank you,
Brennan.
Drunken Prayer.
you.
Thanks, Drunken
Okay.
Prayer. Drunken Prayer, the name of the second Crow movie? Okay. Somebody got that joke, and that's all I need. One.
We'll have to see if our next patron gets it. Alan Smithy, the director, did you get that joke?
Yeah, of course I got it. Wait, which one you made the joke? It was Adam, right? Okay, I get it.
Now you asked one of the last guests, or a couple guests back, you asked what slice did they want on the wheel. Alan Smithy would make a great slice.
That's what I thought, but
a lot of questions about Burn Hollywood Burn.
Burn Hollywood Burn and lots of crappy movies that are really hard to watch. It would
Can't
be like
even
the
name 'em.
ultimate bottom of the barrel. But anyway.
Yeah, the TV version of Dune.
All of you? Yeah, exactly. Oh my God. I have that one. Boggs, Soul, John, and Adam, good to see all of you.
Doctors.
And I figure since I'm
Doctor.
supposed to close out the guest appearance, or I'm not the guest, I'm the Patreon appearance.
You're a guest now. Everybody's a guest.
That's right.
You're a famous director. You're a guest.
Right.
Oh,
Oh, my God.
thank you.
This is street cred right here.
This is so nice. By the way, I'm wearing my dungeon hat, Adam, just so you know.
Oh, very nice.
there you go.
I gotta get me some dungeon merch. I thought I was being sent a shirt. I'll buy one.
I told Kaiser he should get a bandana that says dungeon on it, and then we could all do a bandana.
Oh, that's a good idea. The Kaiser bandana. Brand that. Brand that, man. That's
There you
awesome.
go. Well, anyway, Adam, since we're at the end here, do you have any thoughts on the Bad Batch? Have you seen the episodes yet?
I have. In fact, I was on Cinefanatics last night. It's incredible. It's a really Star Wars is. There's so many points of view. Obviously, the books emphasize a certain point of view, but there are so many different points of view that you just turn that Rubik's Cube one way and tell the same story or a similar adventure, and that's how thick Star Wars is. I'd never thought, and I don't think anybody else ever thought, I'm sure it's shown up in the books, but generally, I've never thought about what was it like for people during Order 66 who aren't exact clones shooting exact Jedis, because that's all we saw. To get this whole point of view of them watching, and I wasn't even prepared for it to be so Star Wars, weirdly. I don't think I was with The Mandalorian either. I was like, well, it's okay for this to be more of a, it's almost like a comparison of like the Marvel Netflix shows versus the Marvel movies. You're like, I felt like, oh, you can be Daredevil, Star Wars, which is great, but not Avengers. And I get full Star Wars in every one of these shows that it's just like the Revenge of the Sith opening and watching them react to Order 66 and like internalizing once again, now from a child's point of view, a Padawan's point of view of watching their master. I was like, wow, that's just how the whole thing starts. So many great points of view going on in there. And the fact that like stormtroopers are now all white and they're not cool like they were in Clone Wars, but they're animated just like Clone Wars. So that's just as disconcerting to us as it is to the Bad Batch.
Yeah.
And to make the Bad Batch just so human because they're such A-team archetypes,
Right.
And I love me some A-team, and I love that part of the show where they're going to action and there's nobody better. But how the rest of it plays out and how much emotion they're getting. I mean, Hunter is a father figure now, and they're just getting really good stuff. But I love any team that's the best of the best, each one with specialties. I think that's my favorite stuff. So this is perfect. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I think the design for the Clone Wars and this show, they create like new ships that we've never seen, where the movies and the other shows are kind of recycling things that we've seen before, making them a little different.
And here in the Omega class shuttle, that they fly, forget the name of their ship, but it's your classic shuttles that we've seen, Tidarium and that sort of thing.
Oh yeah,
with a little, it actually looks a lot like the one that Palpatine takes to get Luke or Anakin, because it doesn't have a top fin. It's one of those. But that there is such an art in Star Wars, and I don't know how they do this, to the ship coming out of hyperspace, glancing past the camera to a planet.
Right.
And they do that over and over in this, and I'm like, every time they do it, I'm like, oh, this is so Star Wars. That feels perfectly Star Wars every time. So, but there's a lot. Oh my god! And then the very first, and I didn't even think about this. We're gonna at some point the rebellion has to start. We are graced with a rebel alliance as of Star Wars, which means a bunch of different rebellions. Who knows? Enfys Nest is what we discussed last night on Cinefanatics.
Right.
Who knows? Maybe Enfys Nest is one of them who's an independent thing, and Saw Gerrera's people or what. And so now, like as soon as they went on the mission to from Tarkin, who's truly evil in this, we've just. Like every Star Wars character, you're just scratching the surface. And even now, you're like, oh, we were just scratching the surface with how much of an awful person Tarkin is. Yes, I noticed you didn't kill that child. Here's another child to kill. Would you like to go do that? And if you don't, you're disobeying the Empire. Like, oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but the rebellion starts. That's amazing.
And even Tarkin be like, let's enhancify his chip to make him even more bad. So like I was like the pure evil.
What a Nazi doctor he is, right? He's every type of Nazi, and I'm shocked they can get away with that. I guess it's been a long time since the Nazi doctor trials and stuff of all the experiments that happened. But you're like, this guy's a real Nazi doctor, and he's got real stormtroopers.
Well, anyway, good to see you again, and have fun.
Thanks, Alan. Good to see you.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and don't let any rocket debris fall on you, because that's a dangerous thing happening today. So
that's true.
Look it up. It's happening. All right.
Okay. Interesting.
I will look that up right after. Thank you, the director.
Just stop being paranoid.
Yep. There's always something to be paranoid about, but Adam, you're an absolute gem.
Oh,
you're
God bless you.
Great every time we get to see you in a match, even if it's not a win. It's still always gonna be a great match and hard fought ones as well. We want to
win in every way but points. That's what I always say.
And sometimes that's even more important. So we just wanted to give you a little opportunity real quick. If you feel like you've got any smack to talk, if you feel like you've just got any praise to give as well, just want to talk more about Star Wars, the floor is now yours. Say whatever your heart desires.
These players better watch out, because I'm pretty good at this stuff. It's amazing when I play at home and I see how well I do. I'm like, I would have started this whole thing very afraid of any opponent, really, because who knows what's going to happen. I was afraid of Sean, lost to Sean. But lately, when I see how confident I can be while playing two Alex Damon level players, and I'm just like, I wasn't afraid then. Tiny technical errors basically screwed that up for me. Those are easy to fix. I mean, I went 2 1-point questions away from tying Thomas Harper, who's probably going to win the tournament, who's probably going to get a belt challenge, So I ain't afraid of nobody. I wasn't afraid of no Andrew Dimalanta or Alex Damon yesterday. I was like, oh my God, I really can stay completely competitive with them. So watch out, everybody in Star Wars. One of you is going to suck just a little bit, and I'm going to sneak in. But I don't play anybody who sucks.
That's true, and that's because you don't suck. In fact, you're great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. Obviously, we have this My Dinner with Andre episode we got to check out. Is there anything else you want to plug real quick?
Of the podcast, go to subscribe to the Movie Guys podcast. We're doing every single Harrison Ford movie in order in a show called The Ford Fiesta.
Oh, such a good name as well. Like I saw that name pop up on my Twitter feed, and I was just like, ooh. Oh,
and you got to listen to the show. They're only like a half hour or something, because some of the early ones are about these movies that nobody ever heard of. But we couldn't believe, like Paul and I are gigantic Harrison Ford fans. We couldn't believe that between the two of us, there are 20, 25 Harrison Ford movies we've never seen. Probably more for me, 30 maybe. And giant fan. So this is like the best labor of love. I mean, we have watched Dead Heat on a Merry-Go-Round, the movie Love, L-U-V. We've watched Getting Straight. We've watched Journey to Shiloh, A Time for Killing, and now finally American Graffiti. I mean, what the hell are those movies I just mentioned? But what's fascinating is Harrison Ford's in each one of them, and there's a little bit of Harrison Ford every time he shows up on screen. Yeah.
Very excited as well for the Secret Life of Pets 2 episode. That one is going to
be... You're booked. You're coming on. All of you.
I'll hold you to Adam, thank you so much for coming onto the show, man. I hope to God we get to talk to you again soon, man, because this was really like an awesome conversation, man. We were so blessed to have you.
Well, thank you so much. I was having a terrible day, so thank you. You cheered me up greatly. I'm like, now I'm like ready to go run a mile. I'm like, we're talking about movies. People are saying I'm cool.
You're welcome back anytime.
Yeah, just reach out. No problem.
Awesome, man. Well, you have a good night.
All right, you guys as well. Bye.
Damn. What was he going to say, Sean?
Movies!
Hey!
Got it right there under the wire. Well, folks, we have a little bit of a long one, but that's because we had some really great guests. A lot of really great questions by you all as well, members of the Outlaw Nation. Of course, MVP is Mukbang. It's certainly not me. I'm not the MVP of this episode. Mukbang
he now owns the show.
That's true.
Sorry, Preston. Like
how it works.
You got to step it back up because Mukbang is taking over right now.
Well, as he knows, as of course the owner of this show, is that we have one final segment to get to on this show, and that's looking forward to next week. We only have 3 matches. It's going to be a little bit more of a standard week, but we have to give our predictions, which means that we have to bring our producer Sean out here onto the show. Sean, how you feeling, buddy? How you feeling?
Feeling good. I just want to thank everybody for coming on. Marisol, Peggy, Adam. It was a great show. I know it was a little bit longer than we normally would like, but I just think Mukbang extended the show. Gracious for all your donations, so thank you very much.
Yes, truly. Thank you so much, Mukbang. A lot of great questions as well. Definitely, we appreciate the money, but also you had some great discussion points. It's lovely to say. Yeah. Now we have to get to the more unfortunate discussion point of who's winning right now with these picks, because I don't think it's me. So I have a sneaking suspicion.
Well, in last place we have John Barr with 22 points. I'm just a little bit ahead of you with 24, so don't feel too bad, John. Because then we have Colin with 25, Sean with 29, and Boggs has retaken his lead with 30.
There you go. Well, this might be the week that we change it, because we got 3 points on the board for us to speak on. First up in the Star Wars world, we have Thomas Harper going up against Eric Whiteley, the next match in the Star Wars tournament. Boggs, as the biggest Star Wars head on this show at the moment, who do you have taking this match?
My head isn't that big, is it? Anyway, of course, you've got to be silly to go against Thomas Harper, really. So, but I do, like I said many times, I do love the Blind Wave guys. Shout out to Wiley. I thought he played solid in his match. But of course, you got to go. What, do I look stupid to you? Of course, I'm going to go Harper.
Sean, are you feeling silly? Are you going to go Eric Whiteley, or are you also feeling Thomas Harper?
I got after Thomas Harper's performance in his first match, and just getting to know him a little bit. It's hard to go against him, so I'm not going to Thomas Harper for sure. Yeah.
Fair enough. And Mukbang.
Speaking of Mukbang.
Oh, God bless you, Mukbang. Thank you back, and you are wonderful hosts. Aw, shucks. I was appreciative of the guests you brought tonight. Yes, definitely also cannot give enough love to the 3 wonderful people that came onto the show, even though only one of them was from Philadelphia. They all felt like home to me. I'm just saying platitudes, but I mean it. They were really great. Speaking of someone who's really great, Thomas Harper is really good at Star Wars, and Eric Whiteley is good at Star Wars, but I think I've also got to go with Thomas Harper on this one. Soul, is it going to be a sweep for Thomas?
It's going to be a sweep for Thomas.
There we go. Peggy's faction mate over on the Den, as Jeremy was pointing out there in the chat. Seems like we're all feeling like it's going to be a zip up for Thomas Harper, but now we jump over.
Well, just also one quick. So Colin sent in his picks, and he also picked Thomas Harper. So it's a really a clean sweep for Thomas Harper.
Oh, my God. I completely forgot about Colin. Dear boy. It's because his name is completely covered up right now. Also, saw Diana in the chat. Hey, Diana, on the off chance you're... Yes, happy birthday. I hope you're not spending your whole birthday watching us, but you can spend a little bit of time watching us if you feel so inclined.
Watch it later.
Watch it later. Teams tournament.
Drop a comment.
We got to talk about these semi-final matches. Starting with, first up, Lightning Time, Ethan Irwin and Liz Shannon Miller going up against Rushmore, John Roca and JTE. I'll start with Sean. Who are you feeling for this match?
Whew, I mean, Roca's never beaten Ethan before, so I hate to do this. I'm going with Rushmore. I think he's due.
Oh, there you go. All right. Very interesting. Soul, who do you
Okay,
have?
Ben Bateman there. I am also going Rushmore because I believe in my boy. I believe in the Latino team.
Ooh.
There you go, Boggs. What say you?
I want to give Brian Broad a shout out. You know, he's saying he can have the show as in mukbang, but he's got the record, which is true in terms of super chat amounts and stuff. So shout out to you. But no, I'm gonna go. Heart says Rushmore, but I'm actually gonna go with Lightning Time. I think it's. I mean, to be honest, both matches, I'm not gonna lie, are like coin flips. Like they're awesome players, all 8 of them playing. All 8 players playing. So I don't know. I'm just gonna go a little bit of an upset here. I'll go Lightning Time.
I mean, either way, I don't think it's an upset.
I mean, it's not an upset. I don't know why I'm saying that. Yeah, it's just I'll go Lightning Time.
Fair enough. Oh man, I mean, I think I'm gonna go with Rushmore just because I feel like obviously Roca did just beat Liz in singles. I feel like you're right. He is kind of due for a win against Ethan in teams, and like I've said, I feel like teams might just be Ethan's weak spot. I feel like this might just be the match where like Roca's able to get one over on him. What did your Colin have to say about all this though?
He also picked Rushmore as well.
There we go. All right, Boggs could be set up for a layup here. But we'll have to just wait and see. We'll also have to wait and see about the other teams match that we'll be looking at. We talked about it already, Deception versus Danger Zone. Ben Bateman come up a couple of times now on the show. We know some people are not fans of him. Soul, are you a fan of him maybe winning this match, though?
It breaks my heart to pick Danger Zone because I hate Ben Bateman as a character. I like him as a person, as a character.
Do you think Maria
I'm
does
going Danger Zone.
There we go. Fair enough. Boggs, what about you? How do you feel about the Danger Zone and Deception, folks?
Bit of a coin flip, like I said. I will say in that Danger Zone match, though, seeing when I think Christian introduced them and seeing just the two players turn around, I think it's Ben, the boss, and the champ. It's just like, what the hell is this? Like they're the almost two OP, going up against them two, I would be intimidated. I think, whoa, and that's why I'm going to pick them to win. Shout out to Marisol for coming on the show, but they're a great team themselves. But I will go with the experience. I'll go with Danger Zone.
Fair enough. I will say I'm going with Deception in this one. I think this is going to kind of be like last year's team tournament when Deception went up against Odd Couple. Obviously, Adam and Marisol were kind of just on the rise. People were starting to go oh snap, this is the really good team. Adam Collins was looking undefeated, and as good as they were, they just happened to take that loss to the more seasoned team. And I think that's going to be a similar situation here, where as good as Dan and Ben are, no one's arguing that they're not good, but I feel like just having that extra time to nail down the team's chemistry for Adam and Marisol is going to give them the edge for their match. Sean, what about you, and also Colin?
Well, Colin picked Deception, so put him down for that. I personally, I kind of agree with Soul. I don't want Ben Bateman to win, but it's hard for me to root against Dan Murrell. I love Dan Murrell. I think he's the GOAT-ish. Roca is something else.
Hey.
Dan's the GOAT.
You watch your mouth there.
well, whatever. It's fine. So it's hard for me to pick against Dan. I think Dan has got Adam's number, and Marisol is just, she's a great player, but they're just going up against a rough team. So as much as I enjoyed Marisol on the show, and she's welcome back anytime, I have to pick Danger Zone. I don't want to, but I just think they're going to win. So that's my pick.
And with that, we have confirmed that Marisol will never come back on the show, and Ben Bateman will never come on at all. There we go. Just crossing two.
Hey,
completely off the list of
she'll
guests.
come on. Goes, my name's in her name. She needs to. She's welcome anytime.
Well, Sean, thank you so much for
good. Great show, guys.
Thank you so much, Sean. Always the best in the biz.
That too meant for you're staying second, Sean. That's what that meant. I didn't
Oh boy.
meant to stay second.
Oh boy. All right. Well, before we get
one flex I've done all season. Okay, so I won't do that. Okay.
We're just getting too spicy, but that's because we've had too much damn fun, huh? We're just having a great time here on the show. Bog Soul, thank you so much for joining me to talk about a big stacked week of Schmoedown. Thank you so much to everybody who helped make this show as fun as it was with your Streamlabs, with your Discord questions, with your Patreon questions. Don't forget, next week. It's just 7 days away. You still have time to join the Patreon, join the Discord, get a couple pennies stacked up so you can send in Streamlabs as well. We're always glad to see it, just like I'm always glad to see
Write your
these
comments.
people.
I read them every at the beginning of every show.
Like the
Also
video.
true. We love all of the side scroll and stuff, but definitely like that video and leave some comments down below as well after it's posted. We had a great time, and let everybody else know who's coming back and visiting it because they didn't watch it live like you. Let them know that, hey, this is a fun show to continue to keep watching here on the Outlaw Nation channel. We got to wrap this up because we're closing in on 3 hours. We're verbose today.
We're in trouble.
We're in trouble. Brooke is coming for us.
I'm blaming on Witt personally. But, yeah.
Well, Boggs, anything you have to say for the people at home? One last thing.
No, just shout out to everyone in the chat. Like you said, Super Chat Streamlabs, Jeremy Miller, Brian Brawler, Mukbang, of course. Yeah, and please drop a comment afterwards. Like you said, we do love the comments and all the feedback we're getting. No, just check us out next week, of course, 3 p.m. PST. I want to give a shout out to Ben Bateman. Love the mind games he was playing in that match. So I love it. People don't, but I personally love it. So, but yeah, check us out as well.
At least he got a black marker this time. He has a giant ass whiteboard, but at least he got a black marker this time.
It's baby steps. It's baby steps.
I just want to plug one thing, John. Sorry. Pop Culture Universe. Everyone like, comment, subscribe. We dropped Invincible review this week. Me and Soul did, and Sean, and we dropped Bad Batch review. All getting really good views. So please, again, like, comment, subscribe on them as well. That's Pop Culture Universe on YouTube.
There you go, Soul. How about you? Any last final things to plug?
Pretty much just at Soul Govin on Twitter, and watch me and Boggs talk about Star Wars on the Pop Culture Universe. So go check that out.
First episode, 2,000 views. Just me and Soul, just talking. So,
and you can watch me talk about Star Wars purely on this episode that you've already watched. Watch it again. Why not? Alan, don't you worry about it. You and Canada Rocks are just fine. It's much more on me than anybody else. I talked a whole lot. You don't have to follow me anywhere. I talked a lot already. If you've decided you like the way I talk, you can find me somewhere different. If not, that's okay. I'll still be hosting next week, and that's when I'll save the majority of my speaking. But that'll be it for this episode of the Ultimate Schmoedown After Show. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week, gang. I don't have the energy for like a silly fun thing to do while we pretend like, oh, the show's over, but like, oh, Sean has a good defeat. Does anyone have any like funny